In the White House, President Eisenhower signs the proclamation that makes Alaska's entry into the Union official, nearly 92 years after Lincoln's Secretary of State bought the territory from the Russian Tsar for $7 million.
The Alaska Wild Project podcast is brought to you by the following sponsors.
Barney's Sports Chalet, supplying hunters with the best hand-selected gear since 1963. The exclusive home of frontier gear built for the rugged Alaskan terrain. Your one-stop shop for all your outdoor needs. Visit Barney's today at 906 West Northern Lights.
Arbor Digital, the forefront of digital assets, cryptocurrencies, and wealth management, providing a low-cost, research-based investment strategy for Alaskans looking to invest their hard-earned money. Visit arborcapital.io today to put your money to work.
Tailored Restoration 24-hour emergency home services, helping Alaskans restore their dreams since 1972. Services include fire, water, mold, post-emergency cleaning, repair, and remodeling. Give them a call in Anchorage, Eagle River, Matsu, or Fairbanks. Hit them up at tailoredrestorationalaska.com.
Total Truck and Alaska Overlander, Alaska's premier supplier for custom automotive accessories and overlanding products, providing all-inclusive rental vehicles and trailers custom outfitted to explore the Alaskan backcountry with a unique and convenient traveling experience.
Serrano's Mexican Grill, 2 locations, one on Tudor, one on Northern Lights. The Northern Lights location has their new tequila bar. Check it out. Also see their daily specials at serranosmexicangrill.com.
TheTreehouseAK.com, located at 341 Boniface Parkway, Alaska's own and grown cannabis and CBD store. Ask the bud tender what the strain of the day is to get your 10% off. The Treehouse, where the culture lives.
The Connoisseur Lounge, Alaska's premier locally owned and operated cannabis retailer, located in the heart of Palmer, Alaska. Their cultivated products include Snowcap Romance, Aurora Haze, Super Glue, and much more. Find them at theconnoisseurlounge.net.
AKO Farms, located in Sitka, Alaska, built from the ground up with concentrates as their single motivation, with exclusive products such as their sugar wax, full spectrum diamond sauce carts, and more. Ask your local bud tender about AKO. Marijuana has intoxicating effects and may be habit-forming and addictive. Marijuana impairs concentration, coordination, and judgment. Do not operate a vehicle or machinery under the influence. There are health risks associated with consumption of marijuana. For the use of only by adults 21 and over. Keep out of the reach of children, and marijuana should not be used by women who are pregnant or breastfeeding.
The Bait Shack, located on Ship Creek upstream of the bridge. Can't miss the bright red shack. They're the go-to fishing gear rental and guide service on Ship Creek. Tight lines and fish on. Come hook into the action with them. Hit them up at thebaitshackak.com.
Snow Pro AK, your snow and ice management company specializing in business and residential properties. They know what it takes to keep your property presentable and safe. Give them a call for a free estimate at 280-7098 or visit lawnproak.com. Double Shovel Cider Company, located off of Arctic and 58th. Handcrafted Alaskan-made colonial ciders. They also have a tap room downtown on the corner of 5th and E. Stop by today and taste an award-winning cider.
The Alaska chapter of Backcountry Hunters and Anglers. BHA is the voice of our Alaskan public lands, waters, and wildlife. Their goal is to uphold our hunting and fishing legacy while keeping our public lands wild. Stand up today and join BHA at backcountryhunters.org.
We won't mention that on the podcast.
in between jobs on purpose.
Well, that's...
Oh.
There you go, boys. I went to grab a fresh cracker before I came back. And
the old caribou call.
Maybe my crack will be opening the Scotch bottle. And pouring
let me hear it. Open it up.
Pop.
Let's see if it makes a sound.
What is this call?
Bison.
Oh, yeah. Some good Scotch here.
Build
ladies
a
and
cabin
gentlemen.
call right there.
Brandon's a Scotch guy now.
Just all of a sudden, I do Scotch.
Ever since Gary came.
It's just so smoky.
He's a Scotch guy now.
Yeah, only this Scotch. I hear it's like $100 a bottle, and
Don't look at the name and tell me what it's called.
Smoky Pete.
Smoked barrel. Please, Daniel.
Lagavulin?
Yeah.
I don't think you say that second A, though. Is it Lagavulin?
Lagavulin? Chad last
Do you know,
night was
Dave?
putting on it right.
Yeah, it looks like Scotch. I'll just.
Yep.
I believe it originated from Scotland, Highland, Lowland, not sure, but
Yep.
It said it was
somewhere
from
in
the
that
water
range.
of Loch. The Loch, like Loch Ness.
oh shit,
Yeah.
Yeah.
there's maybe some Loch Ness pea in there.
Loch Ness balls. Oysters.
They're just the size of a beanbag.
Oh, I want to. As we're talking about crazy animals, can you pull up the
Oh, I can.
mammoth foot?
You seen
so
this,
people-
Dave?
I have not.
Look at that bad chicken.
Oh, there we go.
So anyone that wants to see
Fossilized.
this, we'll probably share it on our page. But if you go to Alaska Mint, they actually have it in their store downtown, the Alaska Mint, and I think what's their Instagram? Alaska Mint too, right?
Yeah.
The Alaska Mint. The Alaska Mint.
The
No, it's the.
what was it?
It's too easy.
That's for debate.
But anyway, they have a mammoth's fossilized foot
A fossilized mammoth foot.
in their shop on display, and it is rad.
Yeah, it looks cool.
It's hard
No,
to
it's
say.
not
Oh,
what
you
I
know what?
thought.
If you go to the comments, how big is it? Because girl in Alaska asked how, and it said on there. I think I made a funny comment, but
How
Oh
big
yeah,
is
there's a
it?
bunch of replies under it.
yeah, go to view replies. No, back up. Girl in Alaska. She said, "How big is it?" Now go to view replies.
Right here.
Nope. View replies.
One down.
That one.
Yeah.
16.
Oh, they say how much it costs. 16,000. View replies. Click it again.
Oh damn! 18 inches in diameter. That's huge.
That's what
Yeah,
she said.
I've never
She
heard.
asked
I've
and
never,
said,
That only took how long to come out?
yeah. In this whole thing. And to get
18
full
inches.
de-
That's not that
degenerate.
big, right?
18 inches? That's huge.
Yeah, the whole time I'm looking at it, I'm waiting for
a
see
mammoth's
perspective,
foot?
Well, that's just the bone, right? Like the
I know, but
flesh
even
would
just
be
the
outside
bone
of that.
is. Yeah, but how much bigger can the flesh be?
I mean,
A lot.
I guess.
probably
Yeah,
like
I
18
guess.
lot.
inches
Okay.
right there,
A
and
lot.
that's
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, it's
mean, that
probably
seems
20.
pretty big.
It's probably 24 plus inches when it's got meat and skin around it.
And this could have been a little kid mammoth. Who knows?
That's true. Baby
Oh.
mammoth.
A juvenile.
Yeah. The big ones are deeper, dude.
Yeah.
They need to keep
Pull up a mammoth.
Miden.
Pull up a picture of a mammoth, though, real quick. We've
Go
been
to the-
really
Well,
getting into
We're gonna
mammoths lately.
You can
gonna
go to
get
the
to
Brooks
see
Range.
one in a couple of years. So
Yep, it's going down.
yeah,
What they say, 2026. They're gonna have a draw.
I hope so.
For the mammoth. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man,
Okay, so
imagine
go to that foot, the one that shows the foot. I guess that's a cartoon. I guess
I
they're all
want a woolly
cartoons.
mammoth blanket, man. That'd be so.
Oh,
cool.
okay, there we go. That's a good picture.
You can actually see its feet.
But look how like dainty the feet look compared to it all.
It's gonna replace merino wool. Like we're gonna all be wearing mammoth fur. It's gonna be like, oh,
Would you call it mammoth wool or mammoth fur or mammoth something else?
I think it'd be mammoth wool.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's like a hair, right?
Well, what do they call the cuvette? That's like the specific name for the muskox under fur. Have you been in that store?
No.
The cuvette. Have you been in that store? And you guys haven't been in that store? The little, it's like a little house downtown, right on 6th and E or something like
I
that.
think
Something
it's
like
on
that.
E.
One of those, right by the transit center.
Yeah.
I went in there thinking I was going to buy a cool scarf
Yeah.
for my wife.
$10,000 later.
I did not buy anything in that store because,
You window shopped.
yeah, it's crazy expensive. But they have socks.
Uh-huh.
I mean, they claim it's the warmest whatever in the
I wonder
world.
if it's itchy.
No, it's so soft.
It is?
Yeah, it's so soft. And they explain to you how they do it all and where they're getting
All
it
handmade.
from, and all handmade from those ladies in there. It's really, if you want a really, really nice, like Alaskan gift for, yourself or your mom or your wife.
A cool 1500.
No, not that bad. I mean, the socks were like $300.
What?
You know,
That's pretty expensive for a pair
Yeah.
of socks.
I like to have warm feet, though.
Yeah, and the scarf. I mean, you buy one of those nice scarves; those are still like what?
And you don't
$80?
wear. You could wear the socks like once a week. The scarf, what are you gonna wear it once a year?
Well, girls wear a lot of those scarves on the,
Oh, I thought we were getting it for us.
Oh, for us?
Yeah.
Are you a scarf kind of guy?
I want a hoodie.
Absolutely not. I have a scarf from Scotland.
The Mammoth hoodie. That's what I'm waiting on.
Oh yeah,
saving my money
legit.
for that.
Yeah. Skin tight.
I might wear a woolly mammoth scarf though.
Yes, that would be dope.
Just cause.
Yeah.
Actually, I wonder what the
wearing it around in June, just sweating.
What the Alaska native term or name for mammoth is?
Extinct.
No more.
No more.
They've got a big skull at one of the taxidermies here. I think Knights has a big.
Knights does?
Yeah.
The Mint does too, and they have one with the.
Yeah, it's got this too.
Yeah.
Knights. Yeah.
The tusks.
Yeah.
Really, that's awesome.
You wanna? Well, that's like the scientific name.
So if we find one on state land, what do you have to do with it?
Take it to your garage and don't tell anybody.
Yeah, you gotta turn it in, right? I mean, it's all a choice.
I don't know.
I mean, you can.
I've never.
You can do a lot of things, but
listen, just hit us up. We'll let you know what to do with it.
we have a studio that we're decorating with cool stuff. We would love
to check a spot for it right in the corner there.
Lots of hot dogs and cider for you.
Have you guys purchased anything from the Buffalo Wool store, the one at the fair?
No. No. I meant to get the socks.
Start there.
Because that's you had those and you told me to get them, but they're pretty spendy too.
Yeah, they are. I want to say it's like 40, 50 bucks.
I bought it handmade up here. Or?
No, they're not handmade up here, and it's farmed buffalo, but it's genuine material, and it's warm, really, really warm. Dries fast.
It's really thick.
Yeah, like I'll bring like 3 pairs of socks on a hunt. And they'll just vary from thickness, and those are my thickest ones.
Oh, you bring them hunting?
I do, because they're just thick enough that I can still put a boot on over them.
Yeah.
And it's pretty snug. I think if I wore them all day, I might have to crack the boots off just to let my feet.
How do they dry out compared to sheep wool?
I'd say it's pretty close.
Yeah.
Yeah. I bet if you tested them, they would dry within minutes of each other.
Yeah.
I think. Because it just dries really quick. So I bought a neck buff.
Oh.
And it's like really thick. So I was on the hunt for, what is those scarves or neck pieces that the military dudes wear in the Middle East?
Oh, I actually have one. I don't know what it's called, but it's like usually like checkered, like white and red. I have like a white and red one, or you see white and like kind of olive green, checkered.
Yeah, do you ever rock it outside?
I do. I mean, I don't know what it's called though.
Yeah,
balaclava. You said it.
Is it a balaclava? Is that what you're talking about?
No, it has a different.
Oh no, that's the head thing.
It looks like a proper scarf, but it's really, really long and really wide, and it's a thinner material.
Oh, okay.
If it's the one we're talking about, you see a lot of military guys rocking them, right?
Yeah, definitely. Guys that did a lot of work over in the Middle East, and I think it served as a piece of warmth, camouflage, sun protection,
and sand
around your face. I mean, it just had a lot of
what is that?
Had a lot of purposes, and I wanted one because I spent a lot of time on this specific knob, glassing for moose, and the breeze switches, and it just cuts.
Dude, you know what you need is turtle fur. That's what skiers use.
I have
that's windproof.
baklava, one of those,
and it's windproof.
It is. It just I don't like the style of it. It's just not comfortable.
Huh.
So what I did find with that buffalo wool neck buff, though, so when I put it on my neck and then I threw my puffy on and zipped it all up, and then I put my beanie on, and then I took that wool and then wrapped it up on the back of my head, so it was like on my bottom of my neck with my beard, and then that thing rolled up. Oh man, I was bulletproof from the wind. It was great.
Nice.
Not bulletproof. Okay, I could last the full morning till noon. Sometimes you get up in a spot from 6 to 10, and that last 2 hours you're just like freezing, right? I did pretty good along with the Wiggies. The
coveralls?
No, the hoodie jacket.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm having a mind blank on that at the moment.
It's like a down jacket.
Yeah. It's the wiggy material in the sleeping bag, but it's the jacket.
The poncho?
No, it's just a quarter
zip,
like hoodie.
Yeah.
For the life of me, I'm just drawing a blank on the name of the jacket, but
yeah, it's like what the mushers
wear. It's the shit. Anorak. Bam, there it is.
Anorak.
Yep, you nailed it.
The mushers use that one?
Mushers use those anoraks.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's just convenient. It's huge and bulky.
Yeah.
So I would love to bring it on a backpack hunt, but it's just too much. Way too much.
Huge.
I guess I would do it if I was doing a real winter hunt.
Yeah.
I would deal with packing that.
Yeah.
Just because I might need it at night.
Yeah.
You know, because it's really a great addition to like a 20 bag or a 15 bag, but you want to try to get it to 0-ish comfort to be able to put that jacket on and then slip in your bag.
Yeah.
It'd be good for a cold, like, winter float or some sort of float.
Oh, a float
where you're not
great.
Moving around a lot, so you're going to get cold.
Yeah, shoulders.
And you have that thing because you don't really need a lot of movement.
I would have, if I was going to come to that float with you guys, I would have brought it.
Yeah, that would have been good for that.
If I wasn't jumping off and going for a hike, I would just peel it off and leave it.
Yeah.
If you got something else carrying it for you, right? Like a boat or a sled.
Exactly. Or Argos.
Yeah.
You know, that'll pass.
Is anyone doing any like non-motorized winter hunting that's like remote? Are they going out on like backcountry skis or snowshoes?
They got the electric skis now.
It's kind of like a foil board.
Liska has it. He's trying.
It's kind of like a foil board. You just fire them up and.
You know, this hunt I did, when I was researching it, there were some guys that did the winter side of it, but they flew in on, with their plane, but then they were touring on skis to go find them. So kind of.
Oh, that counts.
Yeah, kind of counts.
Yeah,
right?
totally.
Somewhat human powered, but with a little like air assist.
Yeah, Earl got one up there in the winter. They got dropped in Super Cubs and had Arctic Oven tent. Yeah,
snowshoe probably.
Snowshoes, but they were like I think right next to close to a lake. Where the buffalo.
Well, and then there's a part where you can actually fly over, find the herd, and then essentially try to find a camp as close to them.
What? No one would ever do that.
They wouldn't? Oh. Maybe that's just a good idea I had.
Yeah.
But
it's a super good idea.
Yeah, I mean, that would help shorten the distance. But once you're on the ground trying to travel on snow, that can be really challenging.
Yeah, I imagine. Yeah.
I try to imagine winter hunting like that because I've never really done it.
Yeah.
And I think it's a lot harder than what I even think it would be.
It seems like it would be.
If you just think about in the fall when you find a game trail and you can hike it and you're sweating your balls off.
Yeah.
You'll find those trails in the winter too.
You will, but you get wind blowing that packs stuff.
Because we've been on those winter caribou hunts.
Yeah, but there's a lot of animals moving through there, though.
Yeah.
Not in a regular area.
Well, you can really see some evidence of movement, though.
Yeah,
with snow.
For sure.
Just, oh my God, there's trails everywhere.
When Jake and I flew up
fresh.
And landed south of the park to go ptarmigan hunting in February, I mean, the snow was as like deep as the moose back. And when we're walking around with snowshoes, just going like 100 yards felt like I walked 5 miles.
That's what I mean.
It was brutal.
Yeah, and then if you're skiing, just any elevation, a grade, just a small grade, like uphill the whole way, man, it's got to just wear you out fast.
Yeah. Breaking trail with skis is not. I mean, it's hard enough just at baseline. If you're like hunting and you have like all this extra weight on you, I don't want to do that.
No, that's you just turn
I don't think people do it
electric.
for a reason.
Just hit the motor, hit the paddles.
Hit the motor.
Oh yeah.
That's where you bust out the old snow go.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, rap.
Exactly.
Get out there. Well, our one of our big dreams is to hopefully do the winter in snowmobile.
Yeah.
Yeah, do that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people cut in there from like Talkeetna. They just take that. They go all the way in from there, right? It's like I don't know how many miles in, but
yeah, I think there's several access points, but pretty much Iron Dog.
Oh, that's what it is.
I did a trail.
That's right.
Get up in there, but we'll get into that deeper here in a few.
Yep. Welcome to Alaska Wild Project, episode 104. Today we have David Brophy. Thank you for coming in.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
David came in to chat about his farewell bison archery hunt that you got lucky enough to do last year, and we're going to get into that story as well and some of your other history and stuff. Before we get into that, though, I want to ask about Cidercon.
Oh, yeah. So we went to Cidercon.
Can you explain what that is?
Cidercon.
It's a cider convention. It's kind of like Comic Con, but for people that drink alcohol and make it. Yeah, it was super cool. Tangy and I flew down to Chicago, and we got to taste the nation's ciders. So they had like a pretty rad taste testing, and then kind of cider share going down. So I think, I mean, I don't usually get really hammered, but Tangy was making fun of me because, you know, like they're the little swirly tasters, you know, because it's a wine, and you gotta get that aroma. But yeah, so I tried to taste every cider there, and dude, I was like spilling it, and yeah, it was great.
How many were there?
I don't know, hundreds. Yeah, I was like, a little less, please. But yeah, no, they had some rad ones, man. They had like this cool cold brew coffee cider that was super good.
Ooh.
It was out of Duluth. I mean, I wouldn't drink a lot of those through the year, but it was very interesting. And then there was a pretty rad place at it's called like Teton Cidery, but out of Jackson Hole that was legit. And they had a couple really good ciders. But anyway, it was what was really cool was basically the University of Virginia and Virginia Tech get so much funding from Virginia's, like every gallon of alcohol they make, all the state tax goes to back into the industry. So a minimum of 30% of it had to be used for science. So like, if you're a cider maker in Virginia, you can call up and be like, hey, I want this project done. And the University of Virginia or Virginia Tech will hook up with you, and you can basically have a PhD level experiment done on your product in real time for free. And there's so much money that goes into that they can't even use it all up. So what was really cool was like going to these classes or whatever, where or these like reviews where they kind of like rolled out the study, and then they would show like what they'd changed in the different ciders, and you could taste them. Oh, cool. So it was super dope, like super nerdy science, cider science, and that was cool.
You're probably in hog heaven, man.
A lot of lab coats.
It was pretty dope. Yeah, I wish I had a lab coat. No, it was kind of like in between like cider nerd and then cider taster, you know. So I kind of fell out of place a little bit.
I could see Tangy in this cider lab coat.
Yeah.
Like extra long, kind of like trenchy.
With this swirl going. He's got a Selleck mustache.
It's like maroon with gold trim.
He's got the teal green just up to his elbow, rubber gloves on.
Like Fight Club style.
Yeah.
The big goggles.
It was rad, though. We went to like 26 different ones of these like presentations and discussions, and yeah, it was great. The coolest thing that I learned in Chicago, though, is that I didn't realize that there's this place called the Chicago Athletic Association, and it's like kind of like would be like a YMCA or something. It was like the Chicago Club downtown for, you know, whatever in the 40s or 50s for playing racquetball and swimming and working out, like
fencing.
Probably fencing. Probably some bare knuckle boxing.
I just think of that high class, like.
There's probably
get your coffee at the end.
There's probably some of that, some guns and hoses in there. I don't know, but it's in this skyscraper, and so someone bought the building and took when the gym must have failed, and took all that and made it like this eclectic group of different like bars and entertainment things. So it's like the elevators have like all the old gym floor on it. Like one of like the places you can rent out is the old pool, like in the pool, and they have it all set up. And then there's like another room called the game room. It had like bocce ball and all this stuff in the bar. That if you rent it out, you get to play on all that stuff. Yeah. So, and one of the other cideries did. So Tangy and I got to go check that out. It was way cool. You know what you can do with the old town stuff. You know, it's like that whole like reuse thing. But I mean, it made me really bummed about the 4th Avenue Theater because I was like, oh shit, we could have done something really rad there.
What was it called? The place?
It was called the Chicago Athletic Club. Yeah, it is super.
You want me to pull it up and check it out?
They had a rooftop balcony up there. It was way cool.
Let's pull that up.
But I think like the bottom, whatever 4 or 5 floors is the old gym, and that's all this entertainment stuff. And then there's a bunch of living spaces, and then the top floor is another restaurant associated.
Maybe we can do that with the Fairview Rec Center once they close.
Well, I think the Fairview Rec Center is a hit still.
No, it is.
Is this? Are we looking at something?
Fairview Rec Center be popping, huh? Don't you go up there with play basketball?
How does that? No, Mountain View, cuz.
Oh, Mountain. Is that it, Jack?
Yeah. So that's right where we were playing bocce ball right there.
Oh, that's cool. They made it nice in there.
Yeah. And so that's just one little side of one room. But yeah.
What a cool experience that must have been. Man.
It was cool to see that.
Yeah. And they're all like bars?
Yeah. Well, so I guess it's a hotel is what this is saying.
Is it all like go up the building and floors?
Yeah. So there's cool like entertainment rec stuff for like maybe the first 4 or 5 floors. And then I don't know how tall the building is. 40 or 50 stories. Yeah, I have no idea.
This is where you sit.
I didn't push the button in the elevator when we went to the top. But so I probably should have, so that I remember. But then all the in between stuff is either living or hotel or something, and then the very top again is part of the,
the bar thing,
the association.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and then the middle floor was cool. Like it had like these bars off of it, and then this picture here, kind of on the bottom left, where it looks like a library-ish, and that one right there, the one you're just on, that's like the main space on the floor, so people can go chill and have a beer there and talk, and it's like you're in a library.
Yeah,
but
I like those chairs, those blue chairs.
Yeah, it was pretty fancy.
I was thinking that's where you sip your
Scotch, your Scotch, bud. Yeah. Speaking of that,
decadent.
Shall we have a taster, boys?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Thanks to Gary Weaver for leaving the Lagavulin. I hope I said that right.
We'll have a sipper. Cheers, gentlemen.
Cheers, guys.
Yeah, for sure. All right, a little stainless steel and Scotch.
Cheers, folks.
It's real smoky.
Yeah, it is.
So smooth. You got to hit 2 or 3 nips before it really sets in, but
I feel like I just officially crossed into dad status having a Scotch. I don't
think you're official now.
Yeah, it's like next level.
I mean, couldn't you see yourself sitting around a solo stove with a nice Kuyu jacket, looking at the mountains, sipping on that
with my Yeti tumbler? Yeah.
I sorry, I missed the Yeti part.
Extra tough boots, maybe a cigar.
Yeah, no, that's nice.
Yeah,
What's the cigar got in it?
The peat isn't that bad in it with the smoke. I usually don't like peat. That smoke like covers it up.
He said this is very peaty. Mm-hmm. That was the term we were looking for.
Is this a La Bodega purchase?
No, you actually got that at Costco.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. They're carrying it, which isn't.
He says they run out fast.
Frequent,
so go get it. It's probably sold out.
La Bodega would be probably where you find it, though.
Yeah.
You probably find it at lots of places, but
feels
appropriate to go buy it there.
Yeah.
I need something to go in this Yeti cup.
There's a really good house Scotch over at Fiori di Italia, and he's the only one that can get it up here. Has a cool story, but anyway, that's a really good one too.
Is he the one?
That is a great restaurant. I love that place.
Is he the guy that does the sandwiches?
No,
it's Italian food, but it's really famous for their whiskey.
He's the one on 36th.
No.
Damn.
It's off of
sorry, man.
Seward.
He's been in the neighborhood over there behind Spinard, by Boys and Girls Club.
Yeah. Hell to the yes.
Back in there.
His restaurant is in the weirdest spot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The restaurant next to it, or I guess you could say like the Quonset hut next to him, was like the oldest, most famous restaurant in Alaska for a long time.
Yeah. He's got really good wines and stuff too.
Yeah. He does a lot of single varietal whiskey, I think barrels is what you call it, but he will order a single barrel and taste a bunch of different barrels and pick the one he wants and then release that for sale out of his place.
Really good food. It's a good spot. It's a good hot spot.
And it's like all glassed off, right? Like the bar part. It's like a separate entity from the restaurant.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember I had like an insurance claim or something I handled with him, and I got to go behind the scenes, and then the wine vendor had stopped by, and she busted all these bottles, cracks them all open. They just sit down, starts grabbing glass. I had a glass. I'm like, of course, I don't even know what
swirly.
I'm just like,
Good mouthfeel.
At the time, I'm not ready for wine yet. I was only like in my 20s, so I could drink barefoot and be like, you know what I mean? Like crappy ass wine. I didn't know the difference, but I thought the interaction with the vendor was really cool because she just wasn't allowed to come and like, oh yeah, get in and out of there. It was like a process.
Yeah.
And I could tell that's just how he handled his everything.
That's high quality.
Well, that's what Nick does. And he's like the perfect guy for that.
For sure.
Alexia's brother, the show.
That's his, that's his job.
Oh yeah.
He's a distributor.
Yeah, but he does all like the Girdwood restaurant all over the place.
Yeah.
He has his
He's
spots.
perfect for that.
100%.
Oh, my
so he always has like just bottles in his car.
Yeah.
So every time it's like we're getting together for dinner, he's like, "Well, what do we want to have here? What do you want to try?
Red or white?"
I already opened this one. It's being oxidized by the moment.
The show, man.
Let's have it.
Did you guys get the chicken stuffed or prosciutto cheese stuffed chicken when you went there?
I don't think so. I'm like on the quest for the best chicken parm. It's like a simple dish, but
yeah.
I'm a New York guy, so wherever I go, I make sure to see if that hits good. Then I'll go. I'll check the rest of the menu.
That's really fair.
Did you try BK's?
You know, I've neglected that one. Should I check it out?
It's back.
That's awesome.
Alexia was like, "It's back. That's the only thing I ate from like 9th grade to."
That's a real thing.
The Burger King
chicken parm sandwich.
Chicken parm is
no way.
Yeah, it's back.
It has marinara on it and everything.
I guess I never had it, but
I mean, might be ketchup. But
So who's leading the race on the chicken parm right now?
Locally?
Yeah,
I would say that place.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah. I mean, everywhere else, it's yeah. I would say they got it.
Yeah.
It's part of it is like how you pound it out too. Like sometimes you get like a big thick chunk and you're like, nah, that ain't
Nope.
it.
Yeah, you gotta make the cutlet.
Cutlet.
Yeah.
And then the breading can't like fall off. It can't like sweat off and peel off. It's got to like stick with every
It's like
bite.
a 4-step process. Yeah.
Everything there. Their steak is amazing. Like I tried veal for the first time over there.
Veal. Yep.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
That's what I've had there is veal.
Yeah, but it's tough to get in there. We used to go all the time, and they blew up now. Now it's like,
It's
it's tough to get in there.
I think it's the whiskey bar, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe we should go
like-
dabble.
Yeah.
Like, do you guys? Where's your finest Scotch?
I'm trying to think of the name, but I usually don't like Scotch. But that blend they have there is amazing.
Okay.
So it's
And it's their jam. It's like something they do, or
so I mean it's from Scotland. But they have exclusive rights in Alaska to it.
Got it.
So you can't get it anywhere else in Alaska.
Okay.
And then it has some like crazy. You got to go ask him about the story. He told it to me. I would fuck it up, but the Scotch was like lost in a ship or something, and then found kind of story.
Oh,
So
perfect.
yeah, it's
We
legit.
use the barrel.
Oh, I mean, the thing about Scotch is that they put it in any used barrel, right? That like, you know, if you're getting bourbon, you have to get like whatever medium oak and it's toasted to this or whatever it is. There's like specifications that has to fit in, but Scotch is like, we're going to use like red wine barrels and we're going to use bourbon barrels and we're going to use this barrel. And I think the only spec is it has to be a used barrel for Scotch. And then there's like 4 different areas in that Scotch comes from in Scotland, and some of them are like up in the north where it's like more peaty, and then some are like in the middle where it'd be less peaty, I guess. And so then you can get like blends of them, and then this particular one over there's a blend.
Perfect.
That's everything I know about Scotch. So
Okay.
There
Dave,
you go.
Dave, you mentioned. Can I call you Dave? Or do you go by David?
I go by David, but
I'm going to stop calling you Dave then.
I appreciate that.
All right.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, that's why I had to ask.
So Davey,
So D.
I feel the same way. I don't like Dan.
Yeah, it's
like-
my full name's David.
I
I
started saying it. I'm like, well, I should ask him because some people want to be fully named.
I appreciate that. Thanks.
Thanks, Brian.
Yeah, well, I don't have that name. I don't have one of those names.
You do now.
It's just B.
Brian.
Brando. I mean, that kind of
There you go,
there you go, Brando. That could be.
Yeah.
And you could not know me, and I'd be like, we're not really there yet, so you can call me Brandon for now. Just like We call him Dave. He's like, my uncle calls me that. Don't call me that.
Dave's the octopus from the Penguin movies, and no one wants to be Dave.
Dave!
That's right.
From the cartoon?
That movie, yeah.
The movie?
They made
Penguins?
a movie. The Madagascar.
Oh, the kids movie.
Oh,
The kids movie?
It's actually really funny.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Like that one is one, if you have to sit down and watch a movie with your kids, you will get some good laughs out of
That
it.
movie is awesome.
The kids movies are awesome.
Well,
there's so much adult, like hidden comedy
totally.
in them.
Oh, there's humor that kids will never get that's there for us.
Totally.
Yeah. So, David, you said you're a whiskey guy. What is your favorite whiskey?
You put me on the spot. My wife just grabbed me a bottle for the holidays. I couldn't tell you the name. It's got a name like that where you can't pronounce it. A little bit of smokiness to it as well, and we've really been enjoying that. I wish I knew the name of it. But
something before that maybe that got you rolling.
I think the thing that got me rolling was it's pretty basic, man. Some like Basil Hayden, I finally started getting into it, and then
I just hoping you wouldn't say Crown.
No, but
sure.
there were some Four Roses that we had on our trip that was really good, which just sounds really funny. But like four dudes drinking Four Roses like bourbon, like in the wild.
It's a manly shade of rose.
I did not select it, but Whistle Pig. It's pretty good one.
Yeah.
Have you tried
Canadian Hunter? That's brutal.
Everyone's tried that.
If it's only bottle out on a hunt, you will enjoy it like it is.
Oh yeah, you will. Redbreast.
I don't know that.
Yeah, that was what Dave Tidings would always bring, on the end of the hockey season and shit, or a random Monday.
I like that Angels Envy Rye. That's the ticket for me.
That's the opposite of the devil's cut.
Yeah, oh yeah.
The old Knob Creek. Ooh, you ever had that?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Oh, yeah.
That one's good.
If you want to watch somebody puke on site at a bar, just give them a shot of that.
All right, sounds gross.
Yeah. So here you go.
Yeah.
What kind of gut you got?
I like it really smooth, or I'm just not gonna drink it.
Yeah, and Chad said you fucked up if you're gonna start Scotch at this level, because now you can't
go down.
Regress.
Yeah.
But everything under this sucks anyway. So
this is pretty much the bar.
I think you have to go. Yeah, I think you have to go big money on Scotch to get like a decent one.
I'm kind of showing myself here, but Johnny Walker would be in this realm, right?
Yeah.
So like, where would you go with like, say, like a blue or a black label on that?
Black.
So for this comparison,
yeah.
Okay.
I would say it's like a black.
Johnny Walker's good quality though, right?
Yeah,
I mean that
the black
be considered
is
a good.
Is that the highest?
Yeah. You have like the red, was it red?
Oh, Johnny Walker, red,
blue, and then black.
Yeah.
Black's like
Is there
the
a
top.
green?
I don't know.
Is there a green one?
Is that what that
There
means?
might be.
I wondered what the color. The
Oh, that's
colors are
the,
tiers.
Johnny Walker.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Johnny Walker apple.
Pineapple buddy.
I ordered a blue at a buddy's restaurant when we were kids, and his dad was not super happy about it.
Oh yeah. Restaurants really screw you on it, dude.
Because it was
like
the most expensive drink he had to pay for, or
that, and I wasn't quite 21. So
Oh,
both of
yeah,
those things
there you
combined
go.
really
There
didn't
you go.
oh,
really
he's
go
like,
over.
whiskey hammered, huh? Okay.
That's
I guess I'll have to hold your hair later.
Yeah.
You had to pay for dinner.
Let's take a quick break and we'll come back and get into some David Brophy history.
Barney Sports Chalet, supplying hunters with the best hand-selected gear since 1963. Barney specializes in supplying hunters with the absolute best Alaskan-proven gear on the market for some of nature's most rugged and demanding terrain. Whether you're headed to the remote volcanic islands of the Alaska Peninsula in search of a brown bear, or the shale-infested glacial valleys of the Brooks Range for Dall sheep, it is critical you choose the right gear for your dream hunt. Don't miss Barney's exclusive brand, Frontier Gear of Alaska, tested from the high mountains of Tajikistan to the extreme conditions of Alaska. These products were designed for high performance and durability. Frontier Gear was derived from decades of experience hunting big game in Alaska. Paired with other top brands, it provides you the absolute best gear selection anywhere in the world. Stop in at Barney's Sports Chalet in Anchorage on Northern Lights or check out their custom website and reference tool at barneysports.com.
The Alaska chapter of Backcountry Hunters and Anglers. BHA is the voice of our Alaska public lands, waters, and wildlife. From national level policy work to engagement with boots on the ground projects from Kotzebue to Ketchikan. BHA performs public land cleanups, hunting and fishing clinics, and community education to help take your game to the next level. BHA's community-minded goal is to uphold our hunting and fishing legacy while keeping wildlands wild and fostering the next generation of sportsmen and women for years to come. Make sure to follow BHA Alaska for upcoming events, local brewery pint nights, and more. Stand up for Alaska public lands and waters by supporting the Alaska chapter of Backcountry Hunters and Anglers. Join us today at backcountryhunters.org.
The Treehouse AK, your one-stop dispensary located at 341 Boniface Parkway. Be sure to ask the bud tender about their deal of the day, because honestly, there's always something good on deck. And guys, listen, this is where the culture lives. At the Treehouse, their dedication to servicing consumers has been developed through a lifetime of involvement in the cannabis culture. They're committed to providing the highest quality products at whatever value your budget affords, while always maintaining the deep-rooted principles that have carried them this far. Their focus is on relationships over transactions, and you can always depend on them to treat you with the respect you deserve. Hit them up at thetreehouseak.com, and remember, you must be 21 years of age to enter their store.
Total Truck and Alaska Overlander, Alaska's premier supplier for custom automotive accessories and overlanding products, providing all-inclusive rental vehicles and trailers custom outfitted to explore the Alaskan backcountry with a unique and convenient traveling experience. At Total Truck, you can find brands such as ARE, RSI Smart Caps, Goose Gear, iCamper, Front Runner, Rigid Lights, Rhino Linings bed liners, and everything you need to outfit your truck or SUV. Alaska Overlander provides 4x4 vehicles and expedition trailers custom modified for Alaskan adventures and outfitted with rooftop tents, fridges, and all the camping and cooking gear you need to start exploring. Visit them at alaskaoverlander.com. It's kind of just
all right. So two kids.
Taking off.
Yeah.
Two boys.
Yeah, I've got
two boys.
Two boys. Yeah. Bjorn and Axel.
Bjorn.
Sick, dude.
Oh,
you
man.
guys know what that means, right?
No, I don't.
No, what does it mean?
So his name Bjorn means bear. We were gonna go with bear, but there's that guy, and then you're in Alaska, and so like you don't want to be screaming for your kid saying bear, 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 right? So
Oh man.
we were kind of between like Bjorn and Oso, because Oso is in Spanish.
Yeah.
So we went Bjorn.
Right on. My neighbor down the street has a really beautiful, not a Doberman, Rottweiler. Beautiful dog, like a really nice looking dog. And his name's
German
Oso,
beast.
so he's always yelling, Oso, Oso. That dog loves to escape. He's the sweetest.
Oh, he's a big sweetheart.
Yeah, he's a sweet dog.
But it looks like he's from the pits of hell.
Yeah. We laughed at Bjorn because we gave our other buddy, Cisco, that nickname, Bjorn Stitchko, because he would always, every time something would fail, like someone would get a hole in their sock or a strap would wrap, he'd always be like, I got it. And he'd pull out his like sewing kit and like just sew it back together.
He used
floss.
Nice.
I mean, he earned that nickname then.
Yeah, so then we started just
Stitchko.
calling him Bjorn Stitchko.
Well, and so
on the hat he wore.
we were stereotyping, to be honest, a little bit, because he had this specific hat. He likes beanies with the ear flaps.
Okay.
And those are not just easy to find. Okay, you don't just go to every sporting goods store.
Like an actual proper beanie, like a
like the
ball
one,
cap
like
the
a
one of
Nordic.
Bjorn from some Nordic
the hat that Bjorn would wear.
country.
Okay, got it.
Okay,
got it.
does that make sense?
Yeah.
Think Nordic
Like-
skiing.
Yeah.
Bjorn, he's wearing wool, and you know he's comes rolling up in snowshoes, and he can start a fire, and like the whole thing. Your awesome son one day,
Yeah,
he's going to
yeah,
be
no.
doing that.
Absolutely.
He it was Bjorn, and then he started stitching stuff, and then it was like, now you are Bjorn Stitchko, and I used to make up fun like facts about Bjorn Stitchko.
Yeah.
Has the world record woolly mammoth. You know, every time I say his name, he has this thing about him. One time climbed Everest and back in a day.
So with those Nordic hats, you know, they have like the little drops down on the sides. Like I thought those were like decorative, but turns out, you know, I got the kids in the junior Nordic. They have the kids tie them, And so then they're skiing at the beginning, it's cold, then their head gets warm, and then you just see these kids, and they don't even use their hands. They just like yank their head back, and then it just...
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that at all.
I mean, I always thought it was to tie it up.
Well, yeah, so that you could take it off.
They do it really loose, and then they just yank it off, and it just sits behind them like a cape.
Oh, okay. Kind of like sunglasses.
Yeah, exactly. Because you get so hot out there, right?
Oh,
just put in Bjorn. Let's see what pops up.
Oh, yeah. Bjorn beanie.
Bjorn hat.
BJ Bjorn. Bjorn?
Yeah. And
then that's how you spell it.
And put hat.
You're going to have to get
Space
Bjorn
hat.
one of these hats to wear to school.
Okay. See, this looks like a Bjornish type fella.
Yep. Yeah.
He's fighting the bear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we just say Bjorn hat? What is it going to pull up?
Oh.
I mean, we're pretty damn close with that one. You know what I mean? Like, we're getting real close.
It doesn't have the flaps, though. The ear.
You need the ear flaps and the double tassel.
Yeah. You guys feel me, though. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just...
Well,
but that's a really cool name.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, it was Bjorn and the other boy.
The other one is Axel.
Axel.
Yeah,
Cool.
Gosh, that was interesting too. We went with like the Axel Rose spelling, but not because of him. And then we did a name change or spelling change, and that is a process.
Oh, you had already filled out all the stuff?
We filled it out, submitted. We were like, this time, because like with Bjorn, we didn't leave we left the hospital and didn't have it dialed in. And so like this time we're like, we're going to do it this time. And so we went with Axel, submitted everything. And then we're like, we want to spell it like AK, like our kid's born in Alaska. So let's why not spell it that way? And it's a little bit more in alignment with how Bjorn is spelled it too. Kind of like same thing. Same.
Yeah, unique.
So how's it spelled?
It's we spell his name AKSEL instead of AX.
Oh,
Axel.
That's rad.
Oh.
And then we did like a cool Google search on that, and there's some like Norwegian dude named Axel who's like a badass skier guy.
Sweet.
And we're like, cool, that's him.
Man, it just so it wasn't stereotyping that bad. I mean, it actually is like in line.
No, you were stereotyping. You just nailed it.
Okay, all right.
You nailed it, and we're all good with that.
Bjorn Stitchko.
Yeah.
How's that been?
It's come to me a little later in life. Like I'm about to be 46, and got 2 kids under 3. And so that has its own challenges, but it's beautiful. I love it. It's the ups and downs and all the crazy stuff about it. But when I look at my children, it's like pure bliss. It's like pretty rad that like my wife and I have made these people, and we're responsible for like what they may or may not do well in this life coming forward. So that's also cool. So
it is rad.
They're just getting a fun dad age too.
Yeah, the 3-year-old is like wide open. He's ready to go.
Right on.
Lots of opinions.
I've always appreciated a parent. As a young man, I thought I wouldn't want to have kids too old, but as I've gotten older now, I think you are so much prepared and better to be a parent now than if you were 22, 25, 28.
Totally.
And I know that's like cliche-ish, but it's so true, man. Like you gain so much more maturity and patience. Patience. And you got to get a lot of stuff out of your system and be selfish and have things for you for a little while.
Yeah.
Before you commit to that, because you're going to give so much now.
Well, I totally agree, man. It's like, once you do that, either on purpose or otherwise, like it's completely about those kids, like you got to find a way to make that switch. And like, it's much easier to do that when you're a little bit older, or you've just like, you've been selfish for a while and done the things and gotten it out of your system, because then you don't, nothing else is pulling at you. You're just like focused on the thing you got to do, and that's raise your children, so, I feel like that's kind of the perspective we have. Like we're both a little bit older, and so it's, it's challenging in other ways because we're older. Like sometimes I think about like, man, I'm going to be like in my 60s by the time my kid's out the house. I got to be able to whoop his ass up until I'm like 60, 65. Like if I can't beat him at basketball or whatever we're doing, like I'm going to be in trouble,
That's a true statement. My son's 12 and he's starting to test it now.
Yeah,
I had to choke him a couple times, put him, make sure, like, hey.
Just give him some dad strength.
You know it, man. Yeah, they want to start testing you, and then the little brother comes from behind and tries to take out the feet. Yeah. Get your MMA up.
Yeah.
You got to remind them all the way through. teenage years, 18, like Dad always, you might be lifting weights and running and doing things, but I'm still taking you down, and you're going to feel what it's like to have a man manhandle you.
That's right.
And remind you.
You got that dad's strength.
Strength, yeah.
And you're like, T, my knee.
Yeah, and I work with a lot of young folks at work, and I always felt like I was the younger guy at work for many, many years, and it's shifted. And one of my pieces of advice to them is to enjoy their young years before they have kids.
Yeah, totally.
If you want to work a lot and work overtime and come in early and then party late on the weekends, you can't really do it. Well, you can do it with kids, but that sucks.
Yeah.
And I think in this very short, quick life where you don't know what could happen, that you should enjoy your 20s and 30s as much as you can.
Yeah.
We don't all get to experience that, but if you can,
it's the right time to do it. You don't want to be acting like a 20-year-old when you're 45. Like you can, but
they're out there.
Well, and I've also seen folks, men and women, where they have those babies really, really early, and then they feel like they have to find that again. So say you have a kid at 19, and now your kid's 10, 12 years old, and you're in your early 30s, and you want to start acting like you're in your 20s again.
Yeah.
It's kind of embarrassing.
Yeah.
And I'm not judging. I'm just saying it gets sometimes where you're like, oh, man, yeah, I was doing that 10 years ago. It seems...
Got real old.
It got real old. And then it's...
But then now, you get... Because I got buddies that their kids are already out of high school. And they're the same age, so they're free to do all kind of stuff. I'm like, I got soccer practice, and I got to take my kids snowboarding, and I got to, but I get to. But they're already.
They're going to moose camp for a month.
Yeah, exactly. They don't have to worry about it.
They're going riding on a Tuesday. And you're like, oh man, I got school basketball practice, wrestling, guitar.
Yeah, we're gonna go to the Winter King Derby.
Here, let me look at my calendar. I can go do something 3 weeks on a Wednesday. Is that good for you?
Yeah, if nothing pops up.
Whatever, man.
Would you say you're a young codger?
I'm getting there. Codgerisms are starting to come out. Talk loud.
My wife's been complaining I've been breathing loud.
Just mouth breathing?
Yeah, because we have a new routine now. We're both up in the morning.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Dude.
And I'm just like,
you
just never heard me in the morning. Like, this is how I breathe. I got to get this air in before I go to work.
This is how men breathe.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, wives love nothing more than a husband that walks
I try to come back
50 times in the morning too. Like, oh my God.
I try to come back with something. There was nothing. She's just making herself pretty. I'm like, well, you are doing your hair.
You look great.
As I'm putting my socks on. David, walk us through some of your Alaska history. I did notice as I was looking at your page, and for people that are looking for the page to maybe get some of the pictures that you posted on your hunt, it is, what was it again?
Tatanka?
No. His Instagram. D Brophy 33.
Yeah. D Brophy 33. Yeah,
D Brophy 33 on Instagram. So I did notice that you worked for Life Med.
Yeah. I was a flight nurse for Life Med for about 2 years, a little over 2 years. My background before that, I've been a nurse for the last 6-7 years, and that's kind of what got me up here. I have a really good friend that's here, and worked for the local hospital, one of the local hospitals, Alaska Native, and that's where I got my start here in Alaska working as a nurse, but with the goal that I would be someday flying as a flight nurse here. And so I finally was able to do that, and worked for them for about 2 years, yeah.
Can you explain, that's something that I've always say I'm going to sign up every single year. And I don't, because they advertise like, oh, it's $50 for the or whatever for the family, and it's such a deal.
Yeah.
And I'm always like, I could really use this. And then I set it down. I even put the reminder on my phone, and I just survived one more summer or one more hunting season with it.
Yeah.
But it's can you explain actually what
Yeah, I mean, it's an easy sales pitch, right? It's like, how many times do we drop $50 on stuff we ain't ever going to use, or that's just complete garbage, right? And so, it's always hard to like throw $50 on something that you're like, that's never going to happen to me. But it does, and especially, like people that are out there and getting it in Alaska. Alaska, I like to say, it likes to take people sometimes. Yeah. Sometimes it takes them all the way, and sometimes it just gets a little chunk of them. And when you need that help and you got to get care outside of the state, or even just getting flown in from somewhere remote, having that like insurance that's provided through a company like LifeMed. There are some other folks that do it as well, but they seem to do it pretty well. And they offer that insurance program. I believe it is like $49 for the year, I think.
Yep.
And that covers you. There's some nuances there that, depending on what insurance you have and like the gaps that it fills with that, and I don't want to speak to the specifics of that. You can call LifeMed for that.
Yeah.
But it is very helpful in that you need to get out of Dodge, you need a medevac, and you need medical care. It's a good thing to have.
So
especially in Alaska. I mean, everything that people do here is
would they fly out like a chopper out into the field to grab you, or?
It could be a rotor or it could be fixed wing. It just depends on where you are, and if there's a runway there or not. For LifeMed specifically, they have a couple of rotor bases, just 2. They have one up in Palmer area, Wasilla, and then Soldotna. So that would kind of be your helicopter experience for them. Everything else is going to be a fixed wing, whether it's like a King Air or something like that. So mostly utilizing like runway or like airstrips out in the rest of Alaska. So, and then a lot of, if you need it, that insurance will not only get you here to Anchorage to get you definitive care and get you stabilized, but if you needed further care that wasn't available here, it would take you even further and get you down to Seattle or whatever facility you needed to get to, along with working with your insurance. So,
is that like a jet?
And that, if you're going to Seattle, then at least for us, you'll be flying in a jet. They are now utilizing, they've always used like a Learjet, whether it's a 31, 35, or I think 45s now. So, which are really nice.
I mean, you can't beat it.
Yeah,
$50.
It's not the jet you want to be in, but if you have to be in one, that's a great place, great jet to be in.
Well, if you're calling them, you're ready for any jet to come get you, or anything to come get you.
I'm always worried about being in a spot where like maybe it has chopper access, but even with that, it's like you have to have like a nice like braided stream or like a dried up lake or something that above alpine maybe to get to, because rarely like we're playing somewhere there'd be like a runway, so it's always been hard for me to like choose which one I sign up for, because it's like I need to make sure that it has chopper access, and I didn't realize that they had chopper access. But I mean that I don't want to say that's irrelevant, really. It just depends on where you are, like wherever you're deciding to recreate. Like if it's too far for a rotor to get to, like you're waiting on a fixed wing no matter what. So what's
the other company?
So the other I don't know all of the name. There's like 4 or 5 medevac companies in the state of Alaska, maybe more. But the other big player besides LifeMed is Guardian. But I can't really speak too much to what they do. I think they also offer a similar insurance program, or a yearly fee that you pay. I don't know what it costs or what they provide, but
I heard something that I don't know if it's true or not. Like, depending where you're at, whoever's closest, and sometimes it could even be a military outfit or Guardian or LifeMed or whoever, and I don't know if it's true or not, but they'll send whoever first, and then you could still like count it towards your LifeMed because it's like an insurance.
I'm not too sure about that, but there's definitely situations where we will work alongside like Coast Guard or military, and if it's the weather's super bad and the only thing that can get in there is maybe like a military type plane or something like that, or with their training they may take that risk to do that, and then wait for the weather, or they fly somewhere we can fly, and then we'll meet up with them and then take the patient further. or if the only thing that's available, like Kodiak's a great example. You got that Coast Guard base that's there, and every so often so Life Med specifically has a base there in Kodiak, and they'll quite often work with Coast Guard they'll fly rotor to pick somebody up, bring them back in, and then we'll fly them into Anchorage.
Life Med takes it from there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So what's like some of the more common things that you would have to be called out for, or that they get called out for, versus like extreme measures like?
You have every village. I mean, there's so many villages throughout the state, right? And so all of them, not all of them, but quite a few of them have clinics associated with them. And then there's some bigger areas that actually have a hospital. In Anchorage, the big one for us is always Bethel. And so they have a pretty big hospital system there for what it is. And so I would say the Anchorage base specifically is flying there quite a bit. I mean, to say we would go out there 1 or 2 times a day would not be an exaggeration. Wow. Along with anything else that we're flying. So, but Life Med and I'm sure Guardian too, they have bases throughout the state. So like we have one here in Anchorage, they have Kodiak, we have Fairbanks, and then they have the rotor bases and a few other ones, Juneau. And so there's lots of coverage throughout the state based off where that particular base is. And we even have like one of the really cool bases that Life Med has is in Bethel specifically, and so that base there will just go to all the outlying villages and bring folks in. And that one's really neat because a lot of what they do feels a little bit more like first responding type stuff.
Right.
Where for us coming out of Anchorage, like every once in a while we'll get that scene type of call where like we're landed on like an airstrip and the ambulance is either bringing them to us and they're crashing. But quite often we're just going to a clinic or a hospital that's already stabilized that patient. Those guys,
you're a secondary response.
Not all the time, but a majority of the time. But Bethel guys, they're the first person to see that patient, and quite often a lot of the stuff that they see is pretty gnarly. And so they get a lot of interesting, challenging calls out there.
Sure. Yeah.
And then a lot of times if it's that bad, like sometimes we'll do what's called a wing to wing. So they'll grab them in the village, land in Bethel, and we'll time it where we're landing at the same time, roughly.
Oh, to grab a person, transport them,
boom. Yeah, put them right on the plane and get them right to Anchorage. Not just bypass the hospital sometimes if that patient needs that, So,
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always wondered, like, when you hit that SOS, who's coming?
Yeah.
Like, who do they call? Like, where does the call go to?
Right.
Does it go to Life Med? Does it go to the military, Coast Guard? Does it depend where you're at?
I've always felt it was whoever's...
That's why I asked that, because...
resource was closest.
I know that when we had to rescue Jim at Moose Camp, we had to make a lot of calls, and I think we ended up calling you guys out of Palmer, and they came.
So did they fly in with the rotor then?
Yeah. And they had to land in like a dried up lake, like a dried up pond.
Did you have to get him to a spot?
No, I mean the pond is like 15 yards from the tent. So
okay, they were able to get right into camp, basically.
Yeah, it was just lucky it was dry and it was big enough, but there's like no other place to land other than that
That's
one,
what I mean,
like sinkhole,
that bowl kind of thing.
Yeah, but I remember it was a real pain in the ass. Like when we would call like 911, they'd like hook us up with
just through sat phones.
Yeah, they would like hook us up with like toke, and they're like, oh, we're gonna come down with a 4-wheeler in or a 6-wheeler that's like set up with like a bed, and we're like, well, he's not going to make it if that's the case, so that's not going to work. And so there was a lot of calling. I think you almost like, I forget that when I had it wasn't those two, but it had like a number you could call on it on the card. But then now the SOS feature on those GPSs or the Garmin's, like you can, when you do your plan for the year, you can sign up for that. And I don't know if it's through Guardian or who.
Yeah, I don't think it specifies that when you do that. I think whenever you hit that SOS on your Garmin, I don't know who it calls, but they figure that out.
They do.
Yeah, like they'll make the call, and then whoever is like first up or available or willing
it goes
to
it like a dispatch.
Yeah,
and then dispatch is like, okay, Coast Guard can get there faster, troopers can get there faster.
That's awesome to do.
Life
that
Med
way.
can get there faster. It's kind of weird. That doesn't done that in a while. Yeah. That sensor on our light switch over there.
Yeah. But you had mentioned something about like having to get like this vehicle to bring him here and do that. Like that's another cool aspect of that job is sometimes like you not only you're flying a plane, but like you may land and then have to get on an ATV and then get to a boat and then take that boat over across the way and then come back the other way, or you're getting on a snow machine to go pick somebody up, and you just never know what you're going to get
That's
into.
awesome.
You know, it's pretty neat. Yeah.
I bet there's a bunch of people that are really good to work with that are trying to help you figure out that as well. It's like, oh, I got a snow machine, you can jump on it.
My experience in Alaska, everybody has been so helpful.
Yeah.
Like they're like, it is
The community itself.
yeah, all the time. I've never experienced one thing where someone's like giving you like the business, like do it this way or blah blah blah. It's always like, what can we do for you, and like let's make it happen.
Yeah,
really really cool community here.
I think that goes hand in hand with what you had mentioned a few minutes ago about how it can take you or take a chunk out of you.
Yeah.
Where if you recreate or you play around out here enough, everybody respects that, or the general public that is out in the shit respects that, so they know when the shit does hit the fan, and there are professionals coming in for recovery or assistance or care.
Yeah.
That everybody clicks into that mode. Like seems like anytime I've ever experienced anything where something went wrong, everybody seems to click into the right mindset of being helpful and whatever they can do to be a positive impact on it.
Yeah, I think you have to here more so than anywhere else, because there's not other options, and so if people don't get their shit together real quick, like you're in trouble. And so like there's no time to like kind of mess around. And so I don't know if people think about that consciously, or they just kind of know that.
That's what I am meant by that. I think you just know.
Yeah.
Or if you didn't know, now you know. You know,
you learn the hard way.
Yeah. Because I think all of us have gotten into some stuff. Thankfully, haven't to that level, but I've had situations where I could have gotten there, and then I think about it later, and I'm like, man,
could have been way worse.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. I didn't. So as I'm getting older and more mature, as I recreate, I start to prepare better, and I certainly don't want to get in that situation. However, medical kits, first aid, GPSs, those things are
become important.
Be ready for like the unexpected for sure.
Versus throwing some Red Bulls and Jaeger in your backpack and pulling a snow machine in,
that's all you need.
And now it's, Avi packs and first aid kits and, and
GPSs.
Then
everything.
it's just.
Well, that got me thinking when you said the first aid thing. What do you think is something that maybe the average person should have that they don't have? Because I know what's in my kit or the average kit is the average things. Maybe there's something you've seen that's like, you should have this.
I could probably list off a couple of things, but I think what I would preface it with is use a thing that you know how to use, that you're comfortable using, like
have some training on.
Yeah. I could say, get this gadget or do this thing, or like, I have a little staple gun, mostly because I can't wait to like throw some staples into my buddy's forearm and watch him scream, but like, I also know how to do it a little bit. And I feel comfortable with that, whereas somebody else may not feel comfortable. So like, why do that? I think your basic thing, like everybody that's in the backcountry should know how to use a tourniquet. Like something's going to take a bite out of you, and if it hits a major vessel, like you need to know how to use a tourniquet and know how to really use it. A lot of people don't quite use it the way you should, or tighten it up as much. It should hurt real bad when you put one of those things on.
And they got them nice, small, like little ones, travel ones.
Yeah, you might just have to like do a few more squats in the off season, but you ain't gonna feel that thing in your backpack. It's pretty light. I think that's a big one. I think some people can nerd out on it and bring like IV stuff and all that, but no, you can carry fluid with you. It's just too.
If you can help it.
Yeah. So you have to think things practical. Whether it's a tourniquet or like that clot stuff. You can throw it on a wound. I think that's probably a great thing to bring.
What's that called? I don't have that.
Blood stopper is the one I have. I don't know.
There's probably a couple of different companies.
It's like a powder, right?
Yep. That's one thing I had to add.
Quick
to my
clot,
kit.
I think they call it.
Quick clot.
Yep.
Well, David, how about let's reverse back. Let's say training. What is something that you'd recommend an outdoorsman or an enthusiast of all different, recreational activities probably do first? What?
Yeah, it probably starts real basic with just getting CPR. That's probably most people's introduction if you're going to take some kind of class. I don't know if I should say everybody should know that, but more people should know that than not. It's pretty helpful. We found that's more helpful than less, right? And then, for all of us that are playing outside, probably taking some kind of wilderness, like first aid type course, because those are super great because they make you think outside the box. It's like, well, you don't have crutches or you don't have a Stokes basket. Like, well, make one. Well, how do I do that?
Yeah.
And so I think
learn how to use a tourniquet. Right?
Yeah. But if you don't have a tourniquet, how do you do that? Like, get a couple of sticks and some shoelaces and let's fire it up. You know? But if you haven't thought about that, those classes help you think about that and have your hands do it and your brain and eyes are watching that, and then now you have that skill. Whereas if somebody just tells you about it, it's a different thing. So. I think just starting with a CPR type class and understanding that and getting some basics there. And then there's definitely quite a few folks now that are offering that wilderness first aid, and some really great folks that are putting it on. And I think that's, if you've got a hunting party or if there's a guide that's going with you, somebody in that group should have a little bit of that,
Oh, for sure.
Cause it's minimum an hour, more likely 3 to 4. Maybe 6 before someone gets to you, and then if the weather's shit, it's a couple of days.
That's with good weather. Yeah.
And hopefully his name's Bjorn.
Yeah.
Bjorn.
Stitchko.
I need to get more.
You're not CPR certified? Mm-mm. They make us do it every 2 years or whatever.
I mean, I feel like I'm lucky enough where I go with somebody that's had some training.
Yeah.
But what if you're the one that has to do that?
Well, that's what I mean,
Staying alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's just been a young man's mindset of not bulletproof, but just, it won't happen to me. And then as you've had enough experiences in the woods and doing things, you'll have a little hiccup or a little close call. And you're like, ooh. Yeah, I think I should start getting trained for some of this stuff.
I feel like Alaska does that more than any place I've lived. And I've been in a lot of places. It's like the New York City of outdoor close calls. If you're out there doing it, people that just sit in Anchorage, why aren't you just in Kansas? Be anywhere, But if you're out there playing, sorry, is anybody from Kansas here?
No, but
I'm sure Kansas is a great place.
It's really flat. You're not climbing a lot of mountains.
Yeah. But I just I think it's one of those places that the more you're in it, you're gonna stumble upon something you shouldn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be an animal, right? It could be anything.
Yeah.
So,
let's transition out of that sadness.
I
want to talk about rafting a little bit. I know that you did your hunt on the raft, but before you did that, did you get into that from just being here, or was that something you brought with yourself from somewhere else?
Yeah, brought it with me. That's it feels like a lifetime ago, but I before I came here, I lived in North Carolina for a while, and they have the U.S. National Whitewater Center there. It's one of the first I don't know if it's the first, but it's right around one of the top 2-3 places that are first man-made whitewater rafting centers. And so there was an Olympic training facility, and in order to kind of fit the bill for that, they also had it so you could do rafting there. And I was a raft guide there for 4 or 5 years. And so that's kind of how I cut my teeth, just being on a boat in a very controlled, man-made setting, which was really a great place to learn.
All the maneuvers and
and then everybody that works that job, I was probably one of the few that wasn't a traditional river rat that came with that experience. I got it there, but there were so many folks that was their life,
right.
These kayak guys, they live for it, and this was a way for them to get a buck here and there. And so then you inevitably go out on actual trips where you're hitting real rivers with these guys, and so you start picking up some stuff there. So that was my initial exposure to it. I had never rode a raft until I came here. I've always like just been on the back with like, you know, one stick. On the
Okay,
back.
gotcha.
You know, just yelling at my people like all forward, 2 back, you know, all that kind of stuff. And
it's more of a collective effort. On the raft.
Yeah, like that was my experience. And then here it was different, but it was pretty natural. It was like an easy transition for me. I felt pretty good with it. So
have you done many rivers?
No, I mean just with this hunt, the Kuskokwim, and then I, you know, going on the Kenai, you know, 1,000 times. Well, not a lot.
Yeah.
But that's like the, you know, it's the backyard, you know. So
right.
We did the Placer.
Oh yeah,
The Placer.
From Spencer Glacier.
Yeah. Oh no.
Did you go on the train and come down?
Well, I've done Spencer Glacier pack rafting with my wife. That was pretty fun. We did 20-mile pack rafting, which is you know, maybe a story for another time. Lots of bear encounters and crazy shit happened on that. But so we pack rafted that. But we did the.
You do the Blueberry Pass hiking deal?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, like real quick, we had like a black bear come at us, and then right after he was done messing with us, we had a brown bear come at us, and the brown bear did what it was supposed to do. Once it saw me, it was like, I don't want any business of that. But the black bear was like a big pain in the butt.
Yeah.
Was that all on the riverside?
It was right at the pass, Berry Pass.
Berry Pass.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, we had just set up camp, and like we were in the tent and like soaking wet, and we're just like, all right, well, let's get something to eat. And so we like march out and like go make our food somewhere, and get back to camp, and I'm like, man, I got like a wrapper on me or something. So I was like going back to the bear bag that we hung up in some tree, and as I'm like untying it, this like black bear head like pops right out. Like, what's up, man? And like my wife's like, bear. And so we had a standoff with this thing for a while. It got to the bag, but after it was done with the bag, it came for us. Wanted to see what else we had, you know. And we had one can with us. I didn't bring a gun with me because I was like, I'm on a pack raft. Why do I need a gun? And ended up throwing a rock at the damn thing and hit it, and it took off. Nice. And then right as it took off, the brown bear came out, and like it went for the bag, and yeah, it was pretty wild. But yeah, so those are most of the rivers I've done. So
cool. Yeah. That's all pretty challenging too, right? I mean, isn't?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like the 20-mile wasn't too bad.
Okay.
The upper stretches are a little bit hard to navigate.
Yeah,
but
how was that?
It's very braided, and then like sometimes like the section will just go through like what looks like just a bunch of alders, and you're like, what? Well, that ain't it. And then you have to go
pop back out.
Yeah, or you find a dried out riverbed, and that's what you follow to the main thing. So you kind of figure it out, you know. So.
And you're talking about the first like finger that you drop into, or the tributary.
I think so there's two, right? So if you're going up, if you're river left on the up, what would be river right? That's more of that glacial fed area.
Yep.
And then the other one, I've been up the other one in a jet boat where it takes you all the way up to that back lake. Yeah, this would be the more river left up or just river right.
Right.
And that comes out of the pass itself. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And you felt comfortable to get in there.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes we were just getting out of our boat, you know, and just carrying it and like portaging it to the next section, and then we would come through. But not a whole lot of, I mean, there were sections where it was like strainer, but it was going through like just like a new area. And so you would walk around that.
Where the river cut just some spot.
Yeah. And then once you're on the main river, it's like, it's easy.
Yeah.
And Spencer was the same way. Like there was a couple of places you had to like figure out, but it was otherwise pretty basic.
Was that a fly-in to the lake and then float out, or the
Spencer?
Railroad.
Yeah, that which was cool. Yeah, that's a cool experience. Yeah.
That is a good one.
Yeah, easy.
Totally.
So.
Yeah, I mean, what a unique Alaskan experience. I feel like to take the Alaska Railroad and take a train ride to a boat ride, and then the scenic drive out, total package.
Yeah. What kind of raft do you got a family raft now?
I mean, it's a Sotar. It's like a 13-foot.
Okay.
I fly fish a little bit, so I try to make it a little bit like a family raft / fishing boat.
Yeah.
And now it's become a bison boat. So
there you go.
It's a Sotar. I got used from some dudes here that I think hunted with it like once or twice and didn't have much use for it after that. So now we're rocking it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to pull up a photo of that.
Oh, you got it on there?
The old Sotar. Have you took the kiddos out yet?
Oh yeah. We have to. When he was real little, we would have to somehow strap him to it.
Monster raft.
I seen a person on the Kenai. You probably been a lot. You might have seen this person. They straight put that. in the middle of the raft or on one of the sections, they put the pack and play.
Oh yeah.
I have not seen that, but I could see. We had friends. Man. We had friends of ours say, buy a plastic tub and line it with Crisco and just throw them in there. That way, every time they just slip.
They just slip right back in there.
I was like, maybe we'll do that.
That's a good little nap spot too. It's good for a dog.
Oh
yeah.
One of those big totes.
That was. I can't. What's the other glacier up there? You have when you're going into Whittier. And
Portage.
Yeah, that's Portage.
Yeah,
that one's super easy, but the get out, like the takeout, is terrible.
Yeah, it sucks.
But I think it's a good starter for people that have just got a raft or a pack raft.
Where do you take out on that?
It goes up the highway.
Yeah,
it's right there. But it's a big steep climb, and you got to get over a guardrail. So you want to have a couple people with you. People were really nice and helped us out with that, which is cool.
Well, that gets you trained up for having to unload the camp, reload the camp, unload the meat, reload the meat.
There's another spot you can pop out, but it's like a quarter mile higher on the guardrail on the road to Portage.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's like the first time the river comes to the guardrail. Right after that, there's a trail that goes down. It's like really you can back into the water.
You can miss it though.
Oh,
I put the car there and I make sure you tag where it is because you'll flow right past that thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It'll be an opening on there. If you're floating, it'll be on your left side.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. And for people who want to do it, you just go.
There's alders on the side, so it's probably easy to miss the trail.
Yeah.
You won't see your truck until you're on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's like the beginning of an outside bend, so you kind of have to go across real quick to get it.
Yeah. It's super fun. I mean, even if you.
Yeah, it's super chill.
So, David, is that your fuchsia raft?
Fireweed, man. Can't you see
fireweed color? Yeah.
Now you see the fireweed in the front.
It's a cool picture, though.
Yeah,
it is. That right in the sand, that one little lone.
Yeah, it was a nice little spot for us for the day. Yeah, the kid was loving it. So we got to get the new one in it this summer. So it'll be his first time on a boat. So, yeah,
it's fun.
It's always interesting when you're on. Well, I think more locally, like Kenai and then that river. When you're on that, it's quite often you're just driving those roads, right? And you can see the river from the road and the perspective there. But then when you have the perspective in the water, it was really cool to be like, oh wow, this is all. It's like I've been looking at the same thing through a car window, but it's so different now.
Oh,
man.
Especially that rock garden at the beginning.
Yeah. You're talking about on Portage. Yeah,
that's fun with the paddleboard.
Yeah.
So people that want to try it, you just go to the lake there at Portage, like you're going to go to Whittier and just park on the right now, and you got to kind of drag your raft down there to the lake and start. That's where we started.
Yeah, it's right behind the main building. There's like a little road there that you can take down, gravel road that gets you to that bridge. You get right out of that bridge. Yeah.
Another one I was going to recommend for you and anyone listening is that the Talkeetna to Rabideau one, and you'll go down the Talkeetna and that flows right into the Sioux. It's a little intimidating. Like you said, when you see it and you're not sure because it's so big and so wide. That's a beautiful trip.
It flows pretty hard right there, too,
I mean, it's going to take you a little bit, but once you get out there, you're like, oh, it's super easy. You can't go wrong on any of the braids, and it's going to take you back to that bridge, and you get the most epic view of Denali if it's a beautiful day.
That's cool.
Yeah, and it's a short. It's like a 2 hour.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I have to get that info from you before I leave.
Yeah, you just go launch the Talkeetna launch there, and they'll launch you on the Talkeetna River, and it just flows right out into the Sioux.
Okay.
And park your car at the Rabideau campground there on the beach. That's a fun one.
It's actually fun if you go camping and four-wheeling there.
Yeah.
And just do that for an activity for the day.
Oh, I've got the boat now, and I've got the four-wheeler.
Yeah, that's a fun one.
Great family.
You don't see that many people doing it. I mean, I think people are intimidated because how just dark and murky the Sioux looks, and it's so big and wide, and it looks like it's just going crazy. But once you get out there, you're just like, there's nothing. And there's so many cool sandbars and places to stop and have lunch and have a fire if you need to. Yeah, it's a really, really good one.
And in the late fall, it clears up.
Yeah.
Really good, dolly fishing.
Drops down a little bit.
I want to float past. I've never done that. Where would you get out at?
The ocean.
No, isn't there?
You could go to the Deshka if you wanted a really long float.
Sheep Creek, Willow Creek.
Would you get out at Deshka?
No,
it's before that.
You could even do.
Oh no, you would. Yeah,
you could get at Sheep or Willow.
Kashwitna.
That'd
be a tough one to find. You'd have to really make sure you're hard left.
Yeah,
but you could do Sheep, Kashwitna, Montana.
Yeah.
You do all those.
Willow's pretty good. I've floated that a couple
that's a
times.
fun one.
It's a good little fish,
Willow.
you know.
Yeah.
There's some good
That's
trout
another
in
one.
there.
Willow, you could
There's
float
some good
to
hogs in
Willow.
there. Yeah.
Yeah,
know,
shout out to
with
the
the
Bear
willow.
Paw boys out there guiding that.
On Willow?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that kind of leads me into the research that you did when you found out that you drew the farewell bison hunt, right? The lifetime.
Yeah.
And then I'm sure once you draw it, like just the planning begins, right?
Yeah, I mean, you know, like I don't know how most people do these things, but it's like, you know, you have an idea of like a certain animal you want to go for and you put in for it. And so I had put in for this and really, you know, along with all the other options for bison in the area, you know, it's like a couple of them. And I had at first no idea, you know, like I had an idea of what farewell is and, you know, and I would have to float it, but I didn't really research it like before I put in for it too much. I just knew I was like, oh, I can float it. I know how to do a raft, you know?
Yeah.
And so the research part got heavy once I finally drew the tag. Yeah. But that is,
Hold up the map here.
yeah.
And you did the Cusco, right?
Yeah, it's wild. You know, you fly in there and we started our journey at Rhon cabin there.
Okay.
So we flew in and we flew in with some folks from Talkeetna. I think there's, you know, a multitude of ways you can do it, but I was pretty like bent on trying to get all of us in at one time because weather was not good that week, like most weeks. And so I didn't want to have like one plane in and have to wait like another day or two. So the folks up in Talkeetna were able to do that for us and got 4 of us in 2 boats and all our gear in one shot. So that was good at Rhon.
And that was a beaver they flew you in?
No, I can't remember what kind of plane. It was K2, whatever. The
K2?
plane. Yeah.
Yeah,
they
but you were all in one plane?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
And
Or like an otter or something?
that's what it was. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it was an otter. Yep.
So otter's bigger than a beaver?
It is.
Yeah.
Is that that's not a twin? That's gonna.
You can get a twin.
This was
Okay.
not though. This was just the single.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's going to be like a 6-passenger plane. An otter would be.
I think it could
It's
fit like
just
8
a
or
little bit
10.
bigger than the beavers. Yeah.
Beaver,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So it fit the requirements for what we need to get everybody in. They were super great. The trip in was amazing, like most flights are here, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know how they flew in?
I don't. I've got some pictures of it. You know, people familiar with the area might be able to pick out like what route we took.
Yeah.
But just coming in was like, you know, we were above the clouds, and then he like found a window, dropped down below, and we took the some kind of valley in to get over to it. Is how he got us there.
Like
And
Rainy Pass or something.
You know, I think you're right. I think that's what it was. Yeah, Rainy Pass.
And then you probably flew through Farewell.
Yeah, because Rainy Pass is just right down.
Farewell would be
here.
north of where we came in. So I think because we came in, like when we finally got into the Rhon area, we were actually heading towards like Egypt Mountain.
Oh, okay.
So we didn't go that far. We didn't come back up to it.
Right,
we were
right.
Heading to it, you know.
And then Rhon Lake, is that pretty big?
The runway.
You
It's a runway. Yeah,
okay.
It was gravel. Yeah,
Yeah,
gravel.
all right.
Yeah, so he just landed on a gravel runway, and then there's that cabin there, which is super sweet.
Oh,
I mean,
nice.
Nice start, huh?
Yeah. You know, like all the logistics, your first day hitting the ground, and you have like a nice hard structure that has like a wood stove and like a gas, like propane, like cooking stove in there if you wanted to use it.
Was it like a Forest Service, or how'd you get to use it?
Iron Dog and Iditarod guys just frequent it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like whoever first.
Yeah, it's
come,
public
first serve.
use. Yeah, it's just for it's whoever happens to be there, and we were just the only folks there. There were some folks that looks like their gear was getting ready to get picked up, so somebody had been there not too long before us.
Okay.
But yeah, we had the place to ourselves and got our boat set up, and then just chilled out there that first night, and then woke up early and just started getting to it. Which was
How
cool.
did you know to go there? Because when you look at the map and it shows the general bison range, and you hear about how other people do it in the winter style,
Yeah.
like where did you even get the idea to go that route? Were you looking at YouTube videos or?
Where's
Yeah,
Rhon Lake on there?
Well, I don't know if there's a Rhon Lake, but I know that there's Rhon Cabin. I don't know what else. I
Yeah,
don't know
you can
what-
Google it, and there's information on it.
Yeah, so that's what I started to do is just like farewell bison hunt, and there's a couple guys that had done it in the summer. I'm sure there's lots of guys that have done it, but there were a few people that took the time to write it up, and that was like my first like real deep dive into what this hunt was going to take. If you Google farewell bison hunt float or float hunt, like this one guy's article will pop up, and that's kind of what started for me. And then strangely enough, there's a guy I work with at LifeMed. He had done it the year before.
Perfect.
Wow.
And so he was just along for like moral support and guiding with the boat because he was a boat guy. And his buddy had drew the tag. And it was a little bit later that I found out that was a resource I could tap. But once I had this article, guy I worked with, the information there, and then the folks that were picking us up, the flight company, she had recommended somebody to me, and she's like, hey, call this guy. And so I talked to him, and because he had done this hunt as well with his dad, and between those three people, it was just like everything I needed.
Yeah.
Or felt like I needed.
Well, it's cool to know that when you draw something that's kind of that lifetime, there are people that are willing to share, because for one, they're not going to be able to do it again, and they want to be helpful to those that finally have drew it. Like, because as I can attest to these guys, we've probably been putting in for forever.
I
for that hunt,
I got that tag,
30 years.
Yeah.
This is 30 year for me.
This is the year.
Yeah, 30th.
Sorry,
next
man.
week.
Sorry.
It's all good, dude.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Yeah.
We've all drawn things.
Yeah.
So where on the map did you start roughly?
Right at Rhon. I don't know.
Should we pull up a different map, maybe?
If you could pull up where that is.
Maybe you have Google Earth?
What is Rhon?
RHONE?
R-O, yeah. I don't know if there's an E, I think, but maybe there is. Yeah, there you go. Just Rhon cabin. Probably get you. There you go.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, that's a beautiful cabin.
Yeah, it was super comfortable.
I was just thinking maybe it might pull up.
I'll go ahead layers if you went back.
Well, I'll go to images. Maybe it'll pop up on a map here. Give us something.
That's pretty much it. Those top ones right there.
Right here.
Yep.
Let's see if it pulls a map up.
Yeah,
Well, you can go to maps on there.
Right
Go
there.
back up where it said images
Yeah,
and go to maps.
I did that earlier.
Maybe if you go, there it is right there. It's upper left corner there. See it? It's
Oh,
just a
yeah.
little bit further north and west. So, yeah. And
really?
so that's just
There you go.
north, I guess, which is kind of weird to say, right? But it's just like because the way the river's flowing. But it's just north of, I think, what's called like Devil's Canyon, which is part of the upper Kuskokwim.
Okay.
And so that's a little bit more of a gnarly stretch of river. But the Rhon, I think, like they were alluding to, I think the Rhon cabin was mostly put in place for like the sled stuff.
Okay.
And maybe there's some more like longer history to it, but
And so you missed that section since you're going.
yeah. So we flew in, landed right there, and yeah. So we're now north of that rough section. And the bison do kind of head up that way still. So as the season progresses, so you get later in the season, which is kind of, we were at the tail end of it, so we got pretty lucky seeing what we did, being that far downriver. But
And what did you see?
So our second day we saw about 20, and then we didn't see anything for about 4 days until we got to Egypt Mountain, which was like 25-30 miles downriver.
They're that spread out.
Yeah.
So there must be pockets all over there.
But like if you were like, I would say from start to finish, I saw sign, like legit sign, the whole way. So it's like,
Yeah.
to encounter them on the river, like depending on what time of year it is, like when the Fish and Game actually called me on this, maybe about maybe 3 months after the hunt, because they were asking questions about like the health of the herd. So
Maybe turn that mic a little bit.
about the health of the herd, and I guess there were some of the females were just not doing super well, so he was just asking me questions about if I had noticed anything, and I was like, nah, not really. And he's like, well, it's pretty late in the season that you're actually in Kaz. Like, where did you shoot your bison? I was like, Egypt Mountain. He's like, I can't believe you did that. He's like, usually like the way further upriver by that time. So they worked their way up pretty quick there.
Can you go Egypt Mountain?
Well, real quick, I was looking at the map. If you guys look at this real quick, you can see where so I was looking at this watershed, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
And then I went to this, and I'm thinking that cabin's like right around here.
No,
am I way off?
Yeah, so I think that's a little further north, and so Rhon is further south here. So It's the farewell bison herd, but I think it's mostly referenced that way because of the farewell cabin that burnt down and the big burn that was there. I don't know when that was, maybe 70s, 80s. Sound about right?
Egypt Mountain?
And then Egypt Mountain is just north of the farewell burn area.
I didn't spell it right.
Yeah. There you go. And like when you land at Rhon and you get in the river, you can see this thing from there, and it's 30 miles away. It's just
really?
It's like right in the middle of that valley there.
Yeah.
And it looks like a pyramid.
It really does?
Yeah.
Oh, it's all by itself.
Yeah, yep.
That's kind of cool.
So were you thinking that you were going to have to go upriver?
No, so when I was talking to people, it wasn't so like...
Oh, because it flows north.
Yeah, towards Nikoli. And so when most of the folks I talked to were like, yeah, if you're going like August to early September, you should see them Egypt Mountain. That's where they can kind of be. So my focus was there. I was like banging, like counting on that. And I didn't find out until a little bit later after talking to the fish and game guy, the biologist guy. I was like, oh, it's a little bit late to actually see something down that far. Even though I'd seen sign the whole entire way anyway. And all like, I just was under the impression that it was going to go down at Egypt Mountain, and it just got lucky that it did. I didn't see anything after that. Like,
really?
At least walking, yeah. So we saw like 20 or so the first day, which is its own crazy story. And then we didn't see anything for like 4 or 5 days, and then we saw 2, and I was at Egypt Mountain, and I made the play on one of the 2, the bigger one of the 2, and then we didn't see anything after that.
And those 2 are together?
They were. It was a big bull and then a little guy.
Yeah.
Just hanging out. So
what was that crazy story at the beginning?
Well, where do you pull out? At Nikoli?
Yep. Yeah. Okay. So you take that all the way down. It's like 68, 70 mile float, which is its own
from
adventure.
Egypt?
From Rhon. From Rhon. Egypt, I would say, isn't quite halfway. It's a little less than halfway.
So I pulled up the second map here. So Rhon, here's Egypt Mountain right here.
Oh, okay.
And then...
So that's like day one you get there.
Well, yeah, we found some sign like pretty early, and so we I don't know, you see that like I don't know, it's kind of hard to tell.
Right
but
here, the drainage.
Maybe 5-10 miles in, we found that like it's your first day, and so we were just kind of like wow, there's a bunch of track here and a bunch of poop. Let's just hang out and see what we could find. Yeah. So I guess that would be our second day. The first day we land, and then we jump in the river the second day. And second day we find this little like island area where there's a ton of sign, and then we're just in this wooded area all day and seeing all kinds of sign, but no bison. I mean, they literally
thick, or?
Yeah, it's really thick, but just like nothing. And you're
Was
like,
the sign fresh though?
Yeah, I mean, like I don't have a lot of experience with like bison poop, but like I have some actually on Kodiak. I mean, there's a bunch of bison running around.
Yeah, there is.
Actually got charged by some of those. That's a good video.
Yeah.
But all the chips I saw out there were like pretty dry, where these were like, pretty wet piles that you're running into. And so it looked like, from what I could tell, was pretty fresh. And then we spent all day in there, didn't see anything. We get back to our boats, and we're on the edge of the river, but still in the woods. And like we're taking all our gear off or getting our gear back on, like our dry suits and stuff, because we were rocking dry suits the whole time. And right as we do that, like we see like a bison come out of the woods on the opposite side of the river. So it's probably 500-600 yards away from us at this time.
The mic, yeah, there you go.
Like 400 or 500 yards from us at this time, and we're in the woods. And so then we're like, all right, let's make a play on these guys, because they're like coming right for us. And like 1 pops out, 2, 3. And by the end of it, there's like 15 to 20, maybe even 25 of them. And they're all plopping in the river. And they would jump in the river and then bob down like an apple would just go underwater and then come back up. And when they would come back up, they would be like 10 feet further downstream, but then work their way back upstream, swimming or doing the little paddle, hop back out and got on our side of the river. And they just kind of maintained, a few of them just kind of maintained this like beeline right where we were in the woods. And I'm just like doing everything I can, taking my dry suit off, getting my gear back on, getting ready to like get my bow set up. And because we had packed everything down, like we were done for the day. And and the wind started picking up. And then this one bull came over straight for us and did his little huffing and puffing and all this stuff. Like, what's up, dudes? And I got down on the riverbank a little bit, and I didn't feel good about it. It was like 60 yards. a little bit of like branch in my way, and I was like, ah. And then right when I was like thinking about maybe I might do it, he just took off. And when he took off, they all took off. And it was like a freight train. Like I've never heard anything like it, like an animal sound like that. It was just like the hooves hitting like the rock bed.
Imagine hundreds of them.
That's it. I mean, it was only 20 of them, but it felt like you could feel. I don't know if I felt it, but it felt like I heard it such a way that I felt like I could feel it.
It like reverberated.
Yeah,
That's
totally
so cool.
So that was essentially that was our first day of hunting. And so
we had a good start.
Yeah, and so we were like totally stoked about this like hunt, like it's totally going to go down.
What just staying on that day a little bit. What kind of like terrain were they in, and why do you think you couldn't spot them?
Elevation, maybe.
I don't know. I mean, they were where they came from. They were all the way on the other side of the river in a wooded area, and they just weren't where. Like with that first day where we were hunting, what I thought was there they just weren't there at that time. Yeah. So maybe they go back and forth, or maybe that was just signed for like 2 or 3. I don't know.
Yeah. Could you gain elevation and see around? Or?
You could, but when you're in that river basin, like it's so open that for you to get to any elevation is quite a bit of effort. And so like it's like that conversation. Away. It's like, do I put that in to see and then have to make a run back?
Yeah.
And a lot of people that I talked to about this hunt were like, when you're on the river, hunt the river. Like if you're going to hunt outside of the river, you're going to spend a lot of time and you're not going to be on the river.
Just logistics back and forth.
Yeah, because you're going to run out of time. Like if I had a month to be like going in and out of the woods and going up and down, you could do that. But
spend a day to go up to this spot.
Yeah, pretty labor intensive to like get to that elevation. And then.
Well, and don't you want to be as close with the raft as you can? Backpacking bison quarters doesn't sound.
No,
that's
true. It is. It is not. It is not.
So after that first day, did you guys decide maybe we should stay here another day?
We didn't stay right there. We went a little bit further downstream, but only because it was towards the end of the day, so we didn't have much light to work with. So we went maybe like 2 miles, but we're not going upstream because even if we found them, and I don't even know what that would be, like how far upstream they would have went, but we were like, well, are we going to pack that back down to our rafts, right? And so we just let it go. We're like, we're going to let those guys go. We'll go a little further downstream. We feel really good. We just saw 20 day one. We're going to see more tomorrow, and then that didn't happen. And then, as we're going down river the next day, we're trying to find little spots to get up on the river to glass to get some elevation, even though we're not going to make a huge effort to get up on some hill. We're just trying to get a little bit. We ended up popping one of the rafts. So we had to patch that and wait for, 12 hours or wait for it to dry out. And that day, that was day 3. We actually saw 2 that night. I saw it right at the end of the last light. Again, coming across the river, popping in, popping out, and then they were on there's another drainage that you run into called post river drainage, and that's a big area that a lot of people hunt. And there's a lot of sheep up that way too. I think there's a lot of sheep hunting, and then I don't know about moose too much, but I'm sure they're out there. But there's a lot of sheep up in that area, and then some people I spoke to said post was a good place to check out, and that's randomly where we ended up with our flat raft, and where we saw 2 late at night, but then we never saw them again. So, and then we just started working our way downstream, and my brain is just Egypt Mountain, Egypt Mountain, Egypt Mountain.
Okay, you had the goal in mind already.
Yeah, no, the guys that I'm with is there's 4 of us. 1 guy is my best friend he's been hunting quite a bit. Actually, all of them are really good friends of mine, but one of them is a first time hunter. This was his first season hunting.
Oh, what an epic.
Yeah,
for him.
So amazing, but a little impatient at times, and kind of that process of taking it all in and figuring out what's the play and what's not the play, where you should put your efforts and stuff. And because sometimes even though it looks good, it's not that good. You know? So kind of working through that process as a group, but got a little sidetracked.
Sorry, go ahead, Jack.
Are you guys all in one boat?
So we had 2 boats at this point.
Okay, and what kind of boats did you have?
I had my Sotar, and then they had an Alaska. They rented an Alaska
Gary King's Guide Series.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Like I had my boat and that was my responsibility. I just made sure theirs had air in it and they were good. And, we went over some safety stuff and they felt okay with it. We also had one pack raft too that we utilized a little bit.
Okay.
So,
you said you had a dry suit on?
Yeah, we all rocked dry suits.
Really?
Yeah.
Because cold and just in case?
Yeah, like we didn't know
because obviously you don't know what the river's going to look like. Sweepers,
and that's that. So of all the rivers I've been on in Alaska, I would say this was the most difficult, not because of rapids, but because of all the sweepers and like strainers and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much beaver stuff out there that like every turn you're upper river, not bad. Upper river was just scenic, beautiful vacation ride. But once from Egypt, maybe 5 miles.
In those flats
south of Egypt, and then the rest of the way, the next 30 miles was like super stressful because of that.
Yeah.
So we were just like, Alaska may just do what Alaska does and rain on us the whole time. Why don't we just wear dry suits?
Yeah.
And then if we fall in the water,
That's a good idea. So backtrack a little bit even more, gearing up for that. What was the plan? Did you set the 10-day plan?
Yeah, it was definitely that was it. It was a 10-day thing. It ended up being only, I think, 7 total.
Okay.
But we had 10 on the books. And yeah.
Did you guys go light and tight mountain houses or full Gucci moose camp steaks and
light? Yeah, we just all had like the just the MRE kind of style, just like just different brands of like just add water to it and kind of eat it kind of stuff. And the only time we ate anything different is after we had the bison.
Gotcha.
So
some fresh meats.
Yeah. That was the easiest way. Like we thought about it. I was like, because I went big, like in terms of the raft. Like I brought my frame, I brought my dry box to sit on, and so I had space to like take extra stuff and maybe a stove. But I just figured we would go light with that,
Yeah.
So,
what did you? I guess we'll get to that after you get to the bison. I'm always curious on where people place the meat and what they use for like a plank. Like on the back of my raft, I have a 14-foot. I put a table on the back that's elevated off because I was going to get water around the sides and stuff like that. And I'll put all the stuff on there. And I had planned, I had bought, when we go on hunts at, I don't know if I should say this, but they have the things that you carry bread in at Costco.
Yeah.
And they're really strong and they're really sturdy and they're really light.
Yeah.
And they have all those perforated holes.
Like a crate?
Yeah, and you just turn it the other way, and then you'll be able to get air to the meat underneath and on top.
That's awesome.
And you can still pack a bunch of shit on it.
And the water can get in the boat, and it won't get it wet, too, because it's elevated off the floor.
Well, I'd put it on the table.
Oh, on the
and then so just so air could circulate through that. So I was curious because I seen guys just kind of like stack it in there.
Yeah,
and that concerns me.
Yeah. I mean, that was definitely a concern for us. We had high hopes that trip that we one of the guys just like took a moose tag with him and was like, like we'll pack out both these guys, and I'm thankful that we didn't run into anything else because we wouldn't have been able to do it.
Nightmare.
Yeah, it just wouldn't have the space for it. Like both boats were fully loaded to keep that meat as safe as we could. I utilized a lot of like the webbing based like tables, if you will, just netting. That have like the strong webbing to it, so it could support the weight. And so we put like, I think each boat had like 2 quarters. I kept the head on mine and the cape, and then the 2 quarters, and then some of the meat, and then they had the other 2 quarters, and then the rest of the meat between the two. And so just dispersing that on the side tubes and on the cargo netting that we had was enough. The hard part was just keeping it dry because you're in a river, and then
it's raining.
Yeah. So we tarped it, and then we hung everything every night, which was super hard.
Yeah, we'll get
like
to
in
that.
a tree, or you guys had something.
Just finding deadfall and making things. Yeah, I don't know if I sent it to you. I do have a picture of us like concocting like this crazy like log thing to like just get the meat up and dry. So
yeah.
But
maybe we should follow along the pictures with the story.
It's a little all over the place. Huh?
Yeah, that's okay.
That's okay. I mean, it's such a cool. Just trying to imagine it all, and
so there was 4 dudes.
Yeah, it's 4 of us. You guys, it's funny you're mentioning like there should always be somebody that's in healthcare or somebody that has some kind of training, right? And so it's 3 of there's a nurse, 2 docs, and then the other guy he's like our pygmy goat. You know, if you like scare him, he faints, but that's good because then something can eat him and we can run away. You know?
But look at the head on that thing just on that bank.
Goodness.
Yeah. Yep.
So is this the section that you're worried about the sweepers and stuff?
No, this section maybe above it a little bit, but I would say from this point down, it was like that. Like you just had to pay attention, otherwise you were in the business with like some kind of strainer or something. So, but yeah, I would probably I think that's the day after we got that bison. So that's the next day. Yeah. That's where we ended up. But yeah, we just utilized the side tubes there and then just whatever netting we had, and then
it's all boned out too, right?
No, we did not do that. I don't think that we did not do that. I think that for us, we had to keep it on the bone until we got it.
I would have assumed so, just to keep for preservation of the meat.
Yeah.
Versus it being all just clumped up in there.
Yeah. No, it was easier it was heavier, but easier to manage because it was rigid, you know, at least with the
with the bones in there.
Yeah. But we had, like backing up to, I'm sure there's some other stuff to cover, but like 3 of us have like medical background and understand anatomy and like feel okay with a knife, especially the 2 surgeons that are with me. They're like both orthopod guys. So like they're always cutting into muscle and like they know.
They brought their own surgery knives.
Yeah, it's still it took 4 of us with some kind of knowledge, like almost 10 hours to break this thing down and get it like packed out to where we needed it to be, you know.
Oh, wow.
It's just such a massive animal, you know. So
back up a little bit. Let's go back to
day 2.
I want to go back to the kill, the stock.
Well, we haven't got to that.
Oh, we're not. We haven't gone that far. Okay. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, I was taking pictures and stuff, not really paying attention.
We're. Yep.
I'm back in the game, guys.
Okay, he's back. All right. We're going to take a break, and then we'll be back.
All right, there we go.
And get to
regroup.
Egypt Mountain there and how it all went down.
Sounds good.
Tailored Restoration, 24-hour emergency home services, helping Alaskans restore their dreams since 1972. Services include fire, water, mold, post-emergency cleaning, repair, and remodeling. Tailored has an emergency response number with trained professionals available to help you at any time, day or night. Give them a call in Anchorage, Eagle River, Matsu, or Fairbanks. Make an appointment today at tailoredrestorationalaska.com.
Since 2008, Serrano's is Anchorage's own new generation of old cocina. Their menu showcases the passion and love of their rich heritage and unique family recipes that have been passed down through the generations. Serrano's goal is to embrace and display trad flavors using the best ingredients that are available. They focus on making everything from scratch daily. In-house menu includes handcrafted corn tortillas, salsas, carne asada, and chorizo. But don't take their word for it. Experience their tradition and sabor for yourself. Locations on Tudor and Northern Lights, both with new tequila bars. Check out their daily specials at serranosmexicangrill.com.
The Connoisseur Lounge, located in the heart of Palmer, Alaska. The Connoisseur Lounge is Palmer's first locally owned and operated cannabis retailer. Their beautiful store is located at 226 Evergreen Avenue. The Connoisseur Lounge has exclusive cannabis products such as Snowcap Romance, Aurora Haze, Super Glue, and one of our favorites, Sugar Cookies. And if you're not into the flower, the Connoisseur can hook you up with edibles, vape supplies, and a ton of CBD options for all your health and inflammation needs. Check out their daily deals at theconnoisseurlounge.net, or even better, stop by the lounge today. Remember, you must be 21 years of age to enter their store.
Before we get to actually where you spotted the buffalo, I want to know, in my experience, it's been really nice to go with a teepee style tent on floats because it's floorless and you can be in and out with your waders and your boots and everything's wet all the time. What did you guys use for tents?
Yeah, I've started to like dive into some of that stuff, and like I would love to have a teepee tent. It just wasn't in the cards this year. So I had like a basic 4-man like Marmot, like a 3-season tent.
Yeah.
and that's what I brought. And then the guys that came with me, 2 of them rented an Arctic
oven.
Yeah.
Oh, with a stove and everything.
Yeah, I gave them a lot of crap about that, but they looked very comfortable.
Was it a wood stove or was it one of those fancy new gas ones?
They brought the propane, which is even more of a shit talking point for me with that.
So they didn't let you dry none of your shit out in there?
They wanted me to come in there. I refused to do it. Just out of principle, I was not going in there.
If you guys don't have Scotch, I'm not coming.
Yeah, but they were really comfortable. Like every night, they were just pretty much in their shorts, man, and like whatever gear we needed dried, just you throw it in that thing, and it was great the next morning. So. Yeah, those things are great. I mean, a lot of weight.
Yeah,
you know, but definitely if you can bring the weight, they're cool to have. You know.
Yeah, that's why the teepee's nice. There's no weight there compared to that thing is like 80 pounds.
Yeah. We saw a couple of people out there, maybe like 2 or 3 other groups, and I don't know what they were doing, but every group I saw they were rocking teepees.
They were.
Yeah.
So, but I was thinking weight.
They might have been moose. They might have been moose hunters just using the river to get to a spot and then hiking around. So I don't know. Yeah.
Well, you know, once you use that teepee, and especially when you're waders and you're wet and you're moving all, because there's multiple times you're going into the raft, get stuff, go back, get stuff. Yeah. And it's just nice to just not have to take all your stuff off to set up your bed, you know, or whatever.
And now you get those stoves in the teepee and dry all your stuff out.
So. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you have those stoves now with the teepee. Yeah, those things are awesome. One day we'll drop for that.
Yeah, they're not. They're spendy. Actually, speaking on that, I meant to tell you, we seen Caleb from Alaska Outdoor Council put a stove in his Cabela's guide.
Oh, he did.
There's an adapter thing where you can put your stove jack, and it has like a thing that you obviously it's fire protecting or whatever,
right? And
it goes right in the middle in the back of a 6-man.
That's cool.
Yeah,
you gonna get one?
I'm highly debating.
Yeah. How big's Carlos teepee? 12.
He's an 8-man.
8-man.
So what does that really mean in actual numbers though? Like when you got all your gear?
3 with cots.
Yeah,
3. Okay. Especially if you have the stove in the middle.
Okay.
Yeah, 3 dudes you can go chun chun chun. Yeah. And be comfortable.
Yeah.
2 is really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 is really, really nice.
Can you hang stuff in there to dry?
Yeah. Yeah, there's got little like guidelines and things you can put in there to hang stuff up.
But there's enough.
And even just having stuff around, it's going to dry on the cot or whatever. I mean, it gets real hot.
Toasty in there.
Is this the wood stove?
Yeah. Yes, wood stove. Actually, now he's transitioned to, he's tried it all. Now he says the best is that slow oil drip is what he uses now.
I wonder if you could do that like as an assist to the wood or not.
I think it's both.
Yeah.
I think you can get it going.
And then use wood.
Just use get it going with the wood if you're trying to get it hot. And then just use that drip to keep it going all night. But those propane ones, I mean, those things are funny.
Yeah,
because you can set the temperature and they're crazy now, and it will just barely nip at that
What's
propane.
The can or like
you just bring the 20 bottle, like the normal can, and it'll last the whole trip.
Yeah, like you're grilling out, and
with the big like adapter hose.
Yeah, there's a hose that'll run through there.
Yeah,
those are really nice.
Yeah, I was worried about that choice for them because I wasn't sure what our weight was going to be coming out of Talkeetna, and we actually had like maybe another 200 pounds to burn on that, but we were close, you know, and so I was like, guys, that's a lot of weight, but we made it, and they were happy. Yeah, they were happy.
Yeah, being comfortable kind of makes it worth it.
Yeah. I mean, we actually outside of some rain, it was very, very comfortable out there. I didn't feel like I needed that heat other than to maybe dry something out. But, you know, I've gotten really lucky in Alaska with weather so far in hunting. So, it was overall pretty easy.
It'll come.
Yeah.
What were the dates?
September 9th or 10th through.
Okay. Well, anything can happen.
Yeah. No, I mean, we were waiting for it.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah. Next time you'll bring a food tent and a game tent and dry out your clothes tent.
Keg of beer.
Yeah.
No, there ain't going to be a next time for that hunt.
No, yeah.
Not for you.
No, so I need to talk to somebody about that. I feel like it was the Super Bowl for me. Like, I'm good. I don't need to do it again.
Yeah.
But there's always this hearsay, and I've never really talked to Fishing Game about it. It's like, is that like you can pull the tag once every 10 years is what I hear, and then if you fill it, is it just like could I apply for another bison tag in another area, or just never for that? Farewell. I don't know.
Yeah, those are
it's probably a good question for actual Fishing Game.
Well, when we drop this year, are you gonna come with us?
Sure. You need someone to kind of show you the ropes.
Carry the hindquarters.
Yeah.
I wonder what the specifics are. I could probably look at the supplement. Because usually it's on this particular one. It's 10 years before you can even.
I believe
all bison is 10 years.
I think all.
10?
It should be like, in my opinion. I mean, with what we have in numbers and what's happened, right? Like, it should just be a lifetime. Like, if you harvest one, you should be done. Yeah. But I don't know the actual legit answer to that.
They give you a big range of date, August 22nd to October 10th.
Yep, and then that same hunt opens again in the winter.
In the winter, okay, okay. It doesn't say it on there, but okay.
No, it's a separate permit.
It's a separate permit. Yeah.
Oh, it is a separate. Okay, because we've been putting it in for the winter one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's more of a spring. It's March.
It's a couple of guys that I did talk to that had done the winter one were like, I would love to do the summer, like the fall one, because everybody wants to float it. I mean, it's so pretty,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, after this, I've actually never put in for. I take that back. I think one year I did do.
I think we split it next year and go 3 and 3 and see what happens.
I think we did. Or I
for
maybe did it by myself.
I like this one.
The float's nice.
Cool.
With the intention, because I had started buddying up with you guys that had rafts, and I thought if I drew this, that I could talk somebody into coming and doing it.
It shouldn't be a hard sell. It's beautiful. It really is. Like, I if nothing went down, I would have been just stoked with the trip.
Well, and I had in my mind, too, that this would be, if you didn't have the tag, the bison tag, that you could have an over-the-counter moose harvest ticket.
You can, yeah. And I think there's also a sheep tag there, too.
Yeah,
if you want it. So we were looking at some sheep. I was using that mag view, and we had them all like video. And I was like, guys, like, it ain't gonna happen. We're so far away from those things, and it was hard to tell. Like, we didn't have any like really great glass to like see what we were going after. But there's definitely potential out there.
Yeah. Bears.
Well, that's a double whammy.
I didn't see any. We saw one print. I think we took a picture of it, and it might be on there.
I actually have it.
But I didn't see a single one. So
it's almost a trifecta.
It was a
if you go with the
big bear
moose
print,
too,
the one you have here, though.
Yeah.
It's a nice bear.
Yeah, it's a big one.
Yep. Yeah, but
they kind of distinct that front and that back.
A lot of folks that I talked to said like there are a lot of black bear out there. Didn't see anything. So it was uneventful in that regard.
I wonder if the bears are up high.
That time.
Yeah, like berries. they're doing berries at this point.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I mean, there wasn't much.
Pretty late fish, if any.
Yeah, there's maybe a little bit of dust on the top of the mountains, maybe.
Yeah. Did you see any salmon in the water?
No, I don't think that there's much of a push that like people I was asking, like, can you fish for anything up that way? And I don't know. I didn't see any sign of any fish up there. So I mean, I'm sure there's like some dollies or maybe some what's the other one that graylings. I think the graylings. Yeah.
Was the river real
looks
salty?
wide?
Yeah, it's silty. Yeah, it's definitely not.
It looks
clear.
gray.
Yeah. Yep.
It looked Big Sioux, Talkeetna.
Yep, that's pretty. I think that part is pretty low down, and so you kind of see how like it gets braided out and flat. So it's like you almost have to stand up sometimes as you're rowing
to see which
one you're going to go.
Find the corner and which braid you want to take.
We only got stuck one time, and we were kind of being jackasses, and I think that's why it happened. We just weren't paying attention, and it wasn't
got a little comfortable.
And just something snuck up on us, and we took the wrong way, and we were able to get the boat out without having to really do too much. But I mean, you could have a really long bad day picking the wrong line,
right?
Or just getting hung up on something and high side in the boat. And you dump everything,
Or if you didn't have that rain, rain matters a lot.
Elevate the river up and down.
Yep.
So from day one, can you go back to the map?
Sure.
So day one, you stayed at that place, and then day two was you're trying to push all the way to Egypt?
No. So day one we fly in. Day two we were like, there was, we saw some signs. So we're like, let's just pull over here and let's just get the lay of the land, see what this place feels like. You know, we were like, we have 10 days. And so we're like, let's just get out. We see some sign. We thought it would look fresh. And
so David, there's a pretty noticeable drainage on this left side. Is that kind of before or after that?
That is after. So that's the post river drainage. So we're about, I would say, halfway. So between that and Rhon is maybe our first day. And then
like right in here.
Yep. And then we spent like between Rhon and that post river drainage, we probably spent 2 days. And then on that third day is when we popped the raft and we were stuck at post river drainage.
Oh, okay.
And then once we got that taken care of, we spent like a full day in that post river drainage kind of messing around. And that was mountains that you see off to the left there. There's a bunch of sheep up in that area. We got back on the river and actually floated all the way to Egypt, and then that's when we saw those last two, and then we didn't see anything after that.
Was your expectation that they would be in those more flat, not mountainous areas when you first started looking into it, or did you know Egypt was the area?
Just from talking to people, Egypt seemed to be a pretty big focal point for people, but also, you know, the drainages, like just being in the drainage. I mean, I didn't really know what that was going to look like, but I had ideas of being in the post river drainage and being up high on some plateau and like just shooting one.
Gotcha.
Thinking that I would like just lucky enough to be into that, but that was not the case, you know.
Is that why you brought the pack raft, so you could float out meat through those drainages?
Yeah. So one of the write-ups that I had read, the guy said they had a pack raft and they used it specifically for that. So they ended up getting a bison a little bit further up from where their camp was, and then they used the pack raft to like bring everything down.
Yeah.
So that was one of the purposes of it. We also used it as a little, like, at least initially, like a little like ninja kind of get in there, like, because it could go so much faster than us and a little bit lower profile and like get around something. And that guy could like pull over and be like, you know, get over this way, you know.
Like a
scout. Yeah. It didn't work out that way, but that was between using it as a meat hauler and like a scout was kind of its purpose. And then after maybe the second, third day, we kind of ditched it. It was just more fun to be in the boat together. So.
Yeah. Oh, I see. So. Would you just like tether it off and drag it, or just break it down?
Just broke. I mean, it's like a pony keg. We roll it up.
Yeah.
So yeah, we just broke it down. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Okay, so then what?
So yeah, after
let's pull up that video. Is that day 4 where you stopped and you saw those?
No, the video is hunt day 1. So
it is. Okay, so we're past that.
Yeah.
Well, let's see that.
Yeah, so we had just finished up a full day. That was our first full day hunting, and we're just totally like beat, hanging out, like getting ready to go back to our boats, and then we see these guys jump out.
How about them floating on that one awesome part? You see the heads bobbing?
Yeah, it's so wild. So,
you know, it's kind of surreal seeing them running across the bank, because I think the general public is used to seeing a bear on a bank or a moose on a bank or a caribou on a bank, but you don't see a bison, especially. Look at that thing, like how fast he was moving around. And
right, the native Alaskans saw them native here, you know, for thousands of years.
Yeah, it's wild, man.
Except for instead of, you know, the plains bison, there was
like they're not meandering all slow.
Bison, right? Yeah,
they're not meandering all slow, pokey Joe. Like
he's like proud like a horse.
He galloped up in there, and
you're right.
And was, you know,
he sauntered on up there, very
like the agility and movement of the animal is way different from what I was expecting.
Yeah, they're you know,
the heads bobbing
for what for as big and clunky as they look, they move pretty gracefully throughout that terrain.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
and for people just listening, there's maybe a group of 10 there, and the big bull is closer to you guys. I'd say like 50 yards, and then there's a group in the back that are just crossing this river and kind of playing in the river like kids, and one's just floating down the river.
Oh, your raft is right there in the middle. They're running around your raft.
So we think that's what kind of got them stirred up a little bit, because the yellow one is our pack raft, and so that we were using that day 1, and it was getting so windy it was blowing up into the air. Because
it was almost like a
we were kind of waiting for one of the bison to just gore the damn thing. Like we wanted that to kind of happen once we saw it was pissing them off.
You gotta have the red one.
Yeah,
Get the El Toro Loco.
Ferdinand the bison.
Oh, that's funny. I mean, God, you guys must have been stoked.
Oh, this must
day 1, 2, you see these guys and you're like, it's on.
Yeah, we were super confident, and then just each day it just got a little lower, you know, and because I didn't know any better, so my ignorance was kind of bliss in the sense that I was super fixated on Egypt, and anything before that was like money in the bag, like I was like, all right, that's cool, but I just was like,
get it at the mountain.
Yeah, and these guys were not. They were along for the ride. They were supporting me, and so they didn't do the deep dives that I had done. So they didn't really have that knowledge. But they're hearing me, their buddy, be like, "Yeah, Egypt Mountain." They're like, "What the heck does this guy know? Like, this is not going to happen,"
But in hindsight, would you think you would have taken one of those? That one,
that one looks like a nice bison.
That was beautiful. It was a beautiful bison. It didn't feel right. I got into a place where I thought it was okay. The yardage I was comfortable with it. It's a little bit questionable, when you get into that higher range, 50, 60, 70 yards, you
have the wind too, right?
Yeah, you could have lots of discussions about what's comfortable for you.
Yeah.
I felt okay with the yardage.
Most guys are like 100 yards.
Yeah, right.
Okay, man.
But the wind was too much, and it wasn't right. I wanted it to be, but I just held off on it.
Yeah.
So you said you saw about 20 animals there?
Yeah, I think in total it was probably about close to 20.
So that this herd is 250 animals.
Well, I think it fluctuates somewhere between there and about 500. I think that year it was somewhere in the 3 to 4s when I talked to the biologist early in the season. But yeah, it can kind of waxes and wanes. So
yeah, but that's a huge percentage of the animals in the herd.
Yeah,
in the total herd to see 20.
Yeah,
it is in that amount of numbers. That looks like a big bull, dude.
That's a huge one.
That looks like a nice bull.
Yeah, it was hard to not do it. I just was. I didn't like to make a bad shot on an animal like that with a bow. It's a nightmare.
Well, and it's not like you had a harvest ticket tag in your pocket where, God forbid, you shoot too high or too low and you missed your moose for the year. You can come back next year and do it again.
Yeah, no, it has to be perfect, right?
This has to be a very calculated effort.
Yeah,
that was a good hunter ethic decision.
Yeah, and very disciplined.
Yeah,
because the first day, this had to have you, for lack of a better word, trigger happy. Not that you're trigger happy. I'm just saying that all the training and everything you put into the preparation for this, to have this happen on the first day and he come galloping in.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of had to be really hard not to.
Yeah, if the wind was better, if the stick wasn't in my way, if I had a little bit, it was almost like they were coming at me. I didn't get to dictate the terms of this engagement. They were doing that, and I don't know how often that happens. I haven't been hunting that long, but for me, in the times that the little bit I've been hunting, it seems like when I'm able to kind of make I'm initiating, I feel like I have more success that way instead of playing off what the animal's doing. It's just he just didn't give, it just didn't give me what I needed.
Yeah.
Okay, so then what? The push to Egypt happens.
Yeah, we start after that. We feel pretty good about ourselves, and we start making our push downriver. Kind of picking our way. Hoping we might see something. It's not like we're just blindly going to Egypt. But
cool photo right here. I just want to pull this one up.
Yeah, that's in Nikoli.
Oh, that's way late. Okay.
Yeah.
Hold on, back up. We're pushing to Egypt now.
Yep. So we're heading to Egypt, and on our way there, we're trying to find some nice glassing spots, and in trying to do that, we end up popping a raft and get stuck at Post River for a bit. That drainage there, and so we patch the boat really quickly, let it sit there and dry, and we work our way up the drainage. We're seeing a bunch of sheep. We're hoping for bison or anything.
And you're seeing sign.
Yeah, not as much there. Post River seemed a little dry in that sense, as far as sign goes. I did see 2 pop in the river that first night, and then the next day we were out. Like, we spent a little bit of time that morning going to where we saw them pop into the river just to see where they were going, and they were using these like marshy like drainage ditches to kind of like hide themselves almost, it seemed like, instead of getting into the wide,
to get down low, not be in a position exposed. To be skylined or exposed in a sense.
I don't know if they're thinking of that, but it seemed like it, because they crossed the river. They had a very specific spot. Once we got over there and I saw where they dropped in the next morning, you could see like that was their spot and that's what they used. And then once they got there was like this like depression, and they just worked up that. And when we saw where that was going, we were like, there's no way we're going to find these guys. They're gone. So we just got in the boat and just started heading down river again.
So, back on the river.
Yeah. And that was maybe day 3 or day 4. I think it was day 4. And that took us all the way to Egypt. A lot of poking around here and there. Like in the beginning, we would get out every once in a while, and then we were just like, we're staying in the boat until we see something.
Yeah.
And then we get to Egypt and are pretty close to it. And
could you see Egypt from a ways out?
You could see it right from Rhon. You could see the whole time.
Oh, okay.
It's big enough, and it's centered in that valley of where the river is. It's just
right.
You're always looking at it. So, yeah, we get to Egypt.
Yeah, because if you're coming out of post, well,
you definitely can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're always looking north.
Yeah, because where you start is like the most mountains, then you're coming out of that, so you're just
so you bust out a post. Now all these mountain edges are further away.
Yep.
And this just sticks out like a sore thumb.
For sure. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you're all the way back there, and you're looking at it. You can
still see it.
Yeah, and it looks like you're right at it.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So yeah, we end up at Egypt, and I'm in the lead boat, and my buddy's behind me, and I don't see it. And he's like, "Dude, 2 bison, like bison, like river."
Oh, you see them from the boat?
Yeah, they were. So we're on the right side of the drainage in the river, and they're on this like dried up part of the riverbed, just sitting in the sand, kind of wallowing in it. I didn't see him at first, but he like kind of, as lowly as he could, said, "Bison, bison, bison." And we pull over, and I immediately just start making my stalk right as soon as we got over, get the boat like tied up. The other 2 guys that had pointed him out, one of them is like my very good friend, and the new guy, and they both have rifles, both gun hunters. And the new guy, like just in a joking way, was like, "Yeah, man, if you put an ass shot in this thing, I'm totally plugging it." And I'm like, all right, like let's talk about this a little bit, but he didn't have a whole lot of in a good way, just like appreciation for what like a well-placed like arrow would do, and so like there was lots of like banter back and forth about what would actually happen here, and unbeknownst to me, like as I'm starting to make this stalk, my best friend and this guy are in the other raft upriver watching this all go down, and he's like, maybe if I just like fire around, the bison will stand up. And my buddy's like, and this is just, I think, mostly joking on his part, but maybe just a little naivety, just like not really knowing. And so I kind of know this is going down the whole entire time. So not only am I trying
to feel it.
Yeah. And like, because we've joked about it a lot. And like, I know him pretty well, but like, I don't think he would ever do that. But it's just like, you don't know.
It's a thought in his mind, though.
Yeah. And so, and it's in my mind, and now I'm making a stalk on this animal.
There's some truth to every joke, right?
Yeah. And so the whole time I'm like making my stalk on this thing, I'm like, man, if something bullet goes flying over my head, I'm gonna be
Oh yeah, somebody's gonna get a bloody nose.
Yeah. So that didn't happen, thankfully. So we pull over, tie up, and then I start ranging this thing, and I know that there's 2. And as I'm looking through my rangefinder, well, I only saw the one, and then as I'm looking at it, another one walks by, and I'm like, oh shit, there's 2. And they had said 2, but I hadn't seen them. The one that walked by me was like huge, and so I was like, all right, I need to like focus and find where this guy's going. And he might have stirred when we kind of like pulled over, I don't know, but then he, like, as I'm looking at it through my rangefinder to see where they're at distance wise, he walks by, and I'm like, then he settles down, and I'm like, all right, that's the guy I'm making the play on.
And how far away are you?
Probably at that point like 200 yards, maybe 230. And between where I'm at in the water, I've gotten out of the boat at this point. I'm sitting in the water with like my dry suit and like ranging this thing. Between me and that bison is a giant root ball, you know, like a down tree with just like giant thing.
Some cover.
Perfect.
Yeah, but that's all there was. Otherwise, it might as well have been the moon. You know? And so, but I would just luck had it that the wind was coming across, like down, like it was blowing north. And I was dead even with it except for this root ball. And so I just was like, screw it. I went for it and just stayed low and stayed in front of that or behind that root ball. And then I would range the bison and range the root ball. And I was like, that's my distance, you know. But I'm terrible at math and I didn't trust myself. So I'm sitting there with a stick writing it in the sand, doing the math, you know.
I carry the two.
Yeah. But, you know, like it had like a, you know, I tell that part of the story because it like had a calming effect on me, you know, like I was able to focus on that.
Created
like,
a process.
No rush. It's just sitting, it's just laying there.
Think this
it
through.
was
Think this through.
super calm, super chill, like no rush, had plenty of daylight. Like this probably it's probably like maybe 1:32 in the afternoon, so we had a lot of time left.
The best time of the day to start something.
Yep. And it was, and so I finally get to the root ball, and the root ball is 55 yards from the animal, and so he's just laying there, and I'm like, I can't do anything until this guy like stirs a little bit, you know.
Sorry, guys.
Or at least that's what I'm thinking in my brain. And so then I get a little bit greedy with it, and there's a little bit of a depression in front of the root ball, like between the root ball and the bison, like a little like water drainage that's maybe like 3 feet lower. So I'm like, I'm going to try to get down there. I do that, and I'm just like, he still hasn't moved. Like, and after the root ball, there's like a stick, and his stick is like right in front of its eye. At least that's what I'm telling myself. Like, he can't see me. He just sees this stick and this blue thing. Like, what is this like in my dry suit, you know? And so I get to like 45 yards, and I'm like, all right, that's it. I'm not going any further. He's sitting down, and then he goes to like lay down on his side, but I just see him move. Like, my brain's like, he's moving, I'm getting up. So I'm squatting, and then he rolls over. I stand up, and then he sees me stand up, and then he stands up because he goes for like rolling, and he's like, oh shit, what's that blue thing? Stands up. And then I just draw back, and him and I are looking at each other for like 5-10 seconds, and I just let it go. And I could hear it go in. I heard it hit bone. Wasn't really sure what went down after that, but he like took off away from me and like peeled away, and I ran backwards. I was like, I'm going behind that root ball. So, but I had told myself, like, if I had cover, like I'm moving as soon as I like let go. Cause I didn't like, if I'm not close to that animal, something just heard it, and I'm the first thing that it sees. Like, I don't know what it's going to do. And I'm watching like YouTube videos all season. People get bored, you know?
Yeah, Yellowstone. Like, look at these guys getting out the car.
Totally.
Did you say you have a video of that?
Yeah, there's a video of that. Yeah.
Do we have that video?
Yeah, it should be up there.
Did you send that to me?
It should be in there.
So real quick, back up on the so you make the stock, and he's wallowing. You stand up, he stands up. Give us some perspective on the hit, shot placement. Was he quartered like left, quartered right? Was he broadside with
how
head
far
left
away?
or right?
He was like pretty much like broadside, but a little bit kind of looking at him. When you
stood up, he rolled over. You stood up. He stood up. Give us some perspective on what you were seeing.
Yeah. I mean, as soon as he was laying down, he was about to roll over, which I thought was something different. I stand up. He now stands up, and he's like just broadside and like kind of like a little bit quartering too. But I have like a really like, let's see if you can. That's it right there above the heart. Yeah. So you can see him laying down there, and I'm in front of the root ball.
That's you, the blue.
This is your buddy's video and you, and he's okay.
Yeah, he's got his little iPhone.
Is this your bison right here?
Yeah.
God, you're close, man. Well, obviously you got to be for archery, but man, thing looks massive. Your look is smaller than its head.
Yep.
Wow.
So
man,
he's
you're right next to it.
Oh yeah.
So how far are you? 30 yards?
45.
So real
right
quick,
there.
this is hold on. So
that's the root ball.
Oh, what the hell? Damn it. That's the root ball.
Yep, that's the root ball. He's starting to stand. He's starting to roll over there, and I don't know what's happening. So I'm standing up, but when I'm in that root ball there, if you're behind it, if I was standing there, my head would be above where it is now, so you could see the depression there, right?
Yeah.
So I got in front of it, and so he's starting to roll over there, and I don't know that, so I stand
Come on,
up.
homie, with the phone.
Yeah, he's gonna get there. He'll get there. And so now he's like really just broadside.
Oh man, nice shot.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay, so for our listeners,
You described it pretty good.
Yeah, he is ass left, head right. And what was the distance again?
45, yeah.
Damn, it looks closer
Play
than
that out. Play that out.
Make a nice hit, right? Bam, right behind the shoulder.
Yeah.
It didn't go that deep, huh?
No, it bedded in
I see
his.
where you kind of trotted back because, like,
Yeah.
Well, and I bet that was a lot of ruckus there with the once he got up and started galloping, right? You could kind of hear him.
Oh yeah, I mean, I heard the arrow snap when it went inside him. I didn't know that's what it was, but then after I saw what the arrow looked like inside, I was like, that's
Do you think
what I
it
heard.
broke on a rib
No, it
or like
so
the elbow or something? Like 'cause it
it-
was low behind the arm.
So it went right through his heart and then lodged on the
Oh,
back quarter, front quarter here, and it was in his like upper bone here on the backside. And
So that's why
when
it's
he moved, it
seemingly-
snapped, and I heard that snap. You know,
Oh, like maybe the broadhead stuck in bone. He moved his arm and then the shaft.
yeah, just snapped
off.
right there.
Oh,
yeah.
cool.
Yep. Yeah, we found it
Oh, that's a
once we
great
rolled him.
description,
When we
man.
rolled him back over, we found the broadhead in there. And it made total sense. Yeah. So yeah, we.
So you made a fucking awesome shot.
I made a really good shot, man. You know, like I knew it was in a
heart,
good spot. Like I felt like it was a quality shot. I didn't know it was that good. But yeah, there's a picture in there. You could see exactly where I hit it in the heart, like lower part, like double ventricle. He kind of trotted away from there and maybe went another 100 yards or so. And then he laid down and then expired in less than 8 minutes, you know. And,
okay.
And it was like once I got up and followed the trail just to see, you know, I mean, you could see, it was not hard to find him. I could see watching the whole time. But
Looks like he did a
just
loop.
he just kind of flanked, like looped right back around. And he sat there and his buddy stayed with him the whole time until he died and was like probably there with him like even 5 minutes after he died.
Okay.
Just kind of
Just
not
a
really
youngin' that was just hanging out learning the ropes maybe from the old boy.
Yeah. Yep, and he was pretty old. Like his teeth, he didn't have many more years left. Maybe another 2 or 3 years. His teeth were like all the way down.
What'd they age him at?
No one's told me that. It's actually on its way to, well, not yet, but next week it's going to Reno for like Pope and Young. So it's got some score to it. So it'll get recorded. But I don't know what the age of it is. You know.
Did you have to give him a tooth, or what?
What's that? So its teeth are just so worn down.
Oh, okay.
So like I feel like most of the time with animals, once their teeth start getting worn down, you can tell the age sometimes of that animal, unless they just have like some other poor health issues. But it seems like once they're, especially animals like that are just grazing all the time, their teeth just wear down year after year, right?
Yeah.
So,
what's that other video you had?
We watched it.
Oh, we did. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think this was bigger
See
than
where
that first bull?
You know, we've debated about that.
He
The
looks
color
bigger.
difference is crazy.
Well, the color I think is because of the water.
Yeah.
Because he
Oh.
was wet, right? So he was glistening. The other guy.
Yeah.
This guy was like all sandy.
All
you know?
dusted up. Yeah.
Yeah, which made it hard to skin him. You know, like you're breaking blades
Well, he
left
looks
and right.
big right there though, man.
So, he's
He
big,
looks like he has less legs. Like the other one was maybe a little lengthier,
like taller or something.
taller, or just less
had
bulk.
less bulk, yeah.
Yeah,
It's so this one looks like his legs are shorter,
yeah,
like a bear. You know, like a skinny young bear has like more gangly, tall looking legs
yeah,
versus a big boar who's like belly dragging.
yeah.
You know,
I can't believe we didn't see you get into that drainage.
I was amazed. Like the wind was perfect for me, and
Plus it's hard to gauge with that.
And like I said, I
drainage.
don't know. You see right in front of him, there's some like like driftwood in front of him.
Yeah.
Like where he was laying, there's a piece or two that was just in his vision.
Right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think that like also helped me. I mean, it had to because there's no way I should have got where I got to.
Was there some running water or something that there was noise where you couldn't hear you creeping up?
Dude, it was dead.
It was dead. So okay.
Yeah.
Because did you end up like peeling boots off type stuff,
No,
or
I
just
stayed in my
walked
dry suit the
really
whole.
slow?
Yeah, I was in my dry suit the whole time, worried about that because they're super noisy, you know. But
like the.
yeah, just super slow, and it worked out.
This is a great video, man. Yeah, actually, this is the arrow flying.
Did he end
I
up
think.
looking at you?
It is arrow.
Yeah, he's giving me the stink eye, I think, there, and I mean, as soon as it hit him, I mean, he knew, you know.
So your boys gave you shit for pulling out?
No,
as they're 200 yards back.
Yeah, the guys I'm with, not so much, but I did post it like on social media, and like I totally appreciate it. I get it. You gotta have a good laugh at that,
Well, it's easy to talk from your computer chair.
Yeah.
Well, sure. And then anybody that's a bow hunter, they've always got something to say. If they're guys that make long range shots or whatever, and you're shooting mule deer or you're shooting whitetails or you're shooting, I mean, that's a pretty intimidating critter to be 40 yards away from versus a whitetail out of a stand or a blind.
Yeah.
Where have whitetails attack people after getting shot with an arrow? I'm sure.
Yeah.
Muleys circle around in a panic and maybe run into you or something. But like, even if this thing accidentally just panicked, jumped up and ran towards you, not out of an attack, just because that was what the first thing it beeline to, man, you're in a world of hurt.
Oh yeah, that root ball is not doing anything. I mean, only thing it might do is allow the guys that are sitting behind me 200 yards to save me and shoot the damn thing, but it's not.
Yeah.
It was just a small buffer at best.
Well, it's not like you were going to knock another one and like throw another arrow at him.
No.
That was one shot, man.
Yeah. So it was a great shot. I think there's a picture in there of the heart, which is pretty neat.
Oh, yeah,
you can see there.
Oh yeah.
So you can see
where it went through.
Yeah, you can see the apex there where it just hit both ventricles.
And with the eyes rolled back,
So then the work begun, and you guys are obviously going to set the camp up there. And
we set it up right there. There was a little tributary, so we could bring the boat up. We probably had to like haul them out maybe 200 yards from where it went down. But it was like starting to pour in rain like by the time we were like gutting this thing. So. But yeah, it took 4 of us about 9-10 hours to break it down and get it back to camp or to the boat. And then we, just set it up on some logs and threw some tarps over it. And then I think we just passed out in what we were wearing and woke up the next day and
it was a late night.
Yeah, I think we got in the tent by like 1:30 at night. So.
Hey, go back to that heart picture for a second.
Look at that meat.
So I noticed in your Instagram that you had
go to the one who's
hashtagged Iron Will.
Yeah. So I chose, obviously with a big animal like that, it seems prudent to use a fixed blade.
Yeah.
And so I stumbled onto Iron Will. I'm not sure what led me there, but I had purchased that fixed blade maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, and just hadn't had a need to use it because I'd just been caribou hunting before that, so I was just using like mechanicals for those guys. And but I had those, and then just started like getting them tuned in for this hunt, and those things are money. I still have the broadhead that I lodged in that thing. It is still butter.
Is it the 2 blade?
Yeah, it's got the one, the big 1 blade with the 2 little bleeders on each side. I used, it's 100 grain, what I had up front, and I think my total arrow weight was like around 518 or something like that.
So when you went from your field points to that, you had to change it?
I just had you kind of like broadhead tune, I guess is what they call it. I'm pretty new to archery, so some of the terminology I may butcher a little bit, but you essentially like tune your broadhead to your bow, and so most of the time that's really just like right to left kind of stuff. Hopefully is what you're dealing with. If you're dealing with other stuff, there may be some other things going on with your bow itself. But in general, when you're fixed blade, depending on what kind of fletching pattern you're running and your weights and stuff, it should just be like a right to left that you're adjusting for. And so 2 weeks before the hunt, I'm just one at a time, just one, like I have one broadhead that I would just shoot and just get that tuned until it was perfect. And that's what I went with.
Yeah. So I'm a huge fan of the Iron Wills in terms of like their concept, and other friends that have used them. All of us that shoot Hoyt that I'm in my circle with have had huge tuning issues with those Iron Wills, to the point where like they sit on the shelf for me. I'm
a Matthews guy, so maybe that explains it.
And I think you're right. It has to do with the bow and like how the bow's tuned. But it was just interesting to hear that someone was comfortable adjusting that Iron Will.
Yeah, I mean, I've had some, I've had some good help along the way. There's a lot, like the Alaska community, bow people, hunting people in general, like everybody's pretty like helpful.
Yeah, totally.
And so I ran into some trouble with it for sure.
Yeah.
Because I was doing things that I was moving my rest before I needed to just move my sight.
Yeah,
like, that's
yeah,
a
yeah.
no-no. That's a no-no.
Yeah.
So that was
Rookie
my
maneuver?
yeah, for sure. But I didn't come up with that on my own. I like read something I probably didn't need to read.
Yeah,
and,
Sure.
was misinformed. And so initially, like tuning it in, I was messing with my rest a little bit, and I was like, "What the f is going on?" And then I talked to the one guy that's been helping me out a lot, and he's like, "Dude, you just let's get your rest where it needs to be.
Yeah,
and just get your field points
Leave
back to
that
where they need
alone.
it.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
And then like all you need to do is just adjust your sight right to left,
Right.
and then you should be good." And I don't know if it was a luck thing or whatever, but like sure as shit doing that, like I got to a place where I felt like
super comfortable.
really good with it. But like the other times that I had
Confident.
broken out with the iron wills, I put them back up for the caribou hunt because I was having I didn't feel great about it.
Yeah.
Whereas the mechanicals are just like darts, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if my first encounter with the iron wills was it's probably just me, doing the wrong thing. And then once I knew the right thing to do, they were great.
Yeah. You didn't have to adjust up or down?
Nope.
Yeah. So mine was like kind of like a 30-degree angle, and it was like, no,
Yeah.
I'm not going to.
What kind of fletching were you running on it? I mean, that shouldn't really affect it too much.
No, just like whatever standard. I
Yeah.
couldn't even name it.
Yeah, no, it's I run a Matthews, and I kind of like all the integrated stuff that goes with it, and just kept it simple. And once I got back to the basics of what that's supposed to be and stopped messing with the stuff I shouldn't have messed with, it worked out good for me. So
I want to get them to work. 'Cause
Yeah,
I had them
yeah.
embroidered with my kids' nicknames, when
Oh,
they were
that's
born,
cool.
and
That's
so
awesome.
I've always wanted to use them, but then they go back up on the shelf.
yeah,
So
yeah.
Gives you a challenge.
Might just be some tinkering you got to do one way or the other.
Yeah.
But they worked great, and like I said, it lodged into the bone on the back side of that thing, and when I pulled it out, I was still shaving the hair on my arm with
Yeah.
it, and I've got it in my box, and I will use it again.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, and I used the impact collars on it too. So,
okay.
That seemed to be helpful for what it was worth.
Okay.
So after you guys clean it up and you stay the night and you have some of that delicious meat, pull that meat up real quick. That is my favorite.
before
That
I-
is my
before I
favorite
move off
Alaska
this-
meat.
Oh yeah.
Bison.
Yeah.
Same
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Before I move that real quick, this photo behind you came from the opposite way, or did you shoot?
So that right there behind me is Egypt Mountain. So
Okay.
this way over here is the river. So I shot into Egypt Mountain.
Okay, so when we were watching your video, Egypt was behind the bison.
Yeah, I just
Okay.
don't. I think just the perspective of. the
Oh
guy
yeah.
filming
I was
lower.
just looking at like the root ball.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that's that root ball we were talking about, right?
No.
Oh, it's not?
No, he.
Oh, right, because he had looped around and was in a totally different spot. So never
Correct.
mind.
Yeah,
yeah.
Did you guys stay one more day?
No, we left the next morning. That took us till 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. We hit the tent. We woke up maybe around
so
9
good.
o'clock, got in the water, and just started going. So I was like, we just were like, at that point, we wanted to do everything we can to keep that meat the way it needed to be.
Yeah.
So we didn't want to like mess around too much with the water.
Talking
So
about that meat right there.
yeah, dude. I mean, all of it has been good, but that has been the best. That was the best taste right there. It was
I
pretty
love how
amazing.
it's on a piece of spruce too. Or is that spruce?
So that's
Or whatever it was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it looks like spruce.
I mean, the way you got to split and then the meat's on there.
It's so perfectly
Oh
done.
my goodness, man.
So how many more days till you guys got to the Nikoli?
I think so one
Shot
more
him
night
on day
so
5?
So with the first day we slept, and the next morning we got up, we floated that big stand that you see with all the meat hanging. That's the first night or the second night, and then one more night to Nikoli. And then when we got to Nikoli, they were super awesome. They have like a meat shack there.
This
and
is
all this
night. You
That's,
slept in that day, floated to here, set up
Yeah,
camp.
that's the second night after the bison's been dead. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we set up a camp there right on the river. There wasn't
look at
really a
that head,
whole.
though.
Yeah, it's so big.
Man, good call on bringing that sled.
Yeah.
That little red sled.
we didn't bring it. K2 that dropped us off. And if you guys are listening, I'm happy to return it to you. But they just left it with us.
Oh, they knew you were going to maybe need it.
I don't know, but we were like, should we leave it here for when they drop somebody off again? And I'm like, no, we're taking that thing. I was like, same thing you're thinking. I was like, this this might help us at some
Oh
point.
yeah. Even if they
Just to
drag
drag it to the
100 yards or
boat.
whatever.
That's what we used to bring it from where it died to back to the boats, because it was just all like hard river rock. Like
Slid
packed down
just smooth
sand.
as butter, didn't it?
Yeah, it still was hard, but it was super helpful. So yeah, I think anybody doing that, anything you can do to, Egyptian that thing, and just, bring
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I imagine throwing that in like a Barney's pack or something, and it's got to be as close to 100 pounds like a moose quarter, right?
Oh yeah, at least,
especially
way
the front shoulders.
Yeah, it's everything you can to pick up that one of those quarters. I mean, I think the rear quarter, maybe even like bigger. I mean, it would depend on how you cut the front quarter off, right? Like,
yeah.
So I mean, like the guys I'm with are pretty good with a knife,
with the
so
chest on there,
they'll leave it all that they can. They'll take the front quarter and keep as much meat attached to it as possible because they think it's cool. They just nerd out with their surgeon skills.
That's cool.
Well, yeah, because like a moose shoulder is like the easiest thing to take off.
Yeah.
It doesn't really even have bone connection. It just you plop it up under the armpit and like
they don't have that mass up there either.
Yeah,
those
things
real
are
thin
just
on top.
Stout.
Yeah, and this one is just, I feel like all that bulks in the chest as it goes into the shoulder, and then it's got to be like girth all the way down to like the elbow, right? Like it's just like,
but if their hoofs down here, like they're that joint is like it comes up pretty quick from the ground, and then it's just like
that's what I imagine it. Yeah.
So what do you? What's the next bucket list? 2023.
Gosh, I don't know. Yeah, I put in for him, but I don't know.
Is this when you were thinking about the next one you're going to draw right here? This photo? Like one of my
Yeah, that's Nikoli, the little meat shack that they got for all the guys that come in. So they built that for people.
Cool.
And they were super awesome folks there. We could not give them anything. They were like, just let us know what we could do for you. I couldn't give them meat, nothing. They just were happy to hang out and share the story and give us a place to sleep and shower.
They were probably stoked to see that big.
They were pretty
beastly head come off that raft.
Yeah. They were very enamored by
how
it.
could you not be, right?
Yeah, but really welcoming folks. It was a really great place to land and end our trip for sure.
Sweet.
So, yeah, I don't know. Part of the little deal we made, kind of backing up all the way to the beginning, was like this was the once in a lifetime hunt with the kid being born like a month before this hunt. Like the fact that I got to go is amazing, and just I got a rock star wife, and the fact that she supported that and helped me do that was pretty rad.
Yeah.
Good call, man.
Yeah, so
give wifey a shout out.
yeah, of course. So this year it's gonna have to be like a lifetime kind of thing to pull those strings again. Otherwise, I might just stay home with the family. So we'll see.
Good for you, man.
We'll see.
Well, soon you'll be going out with the boys.
I got plenty of meat in the fridge. So
okay, you're good. You're good. You're good.
I don't. It hasn't quite emptied out yet, but it will, because that stuff is very tasty.
Well, and how about the excitement for putting another arrow in something? I mean, you thinking about black bear hunting, or you?
I have this. I definitely would like to go do some sheep hunting with the bow. Mm-hmm. I have this like crazy idea of a tree stand version of hunting a sheep off of like a portaledge. To put yourself in that position sounds really silly, because it's like it either happens one time or you don't, and you're kind of stuck there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would like to try my shot like at a sheep one day. I don't really have a thing for a bear. I don't know if it's because my son's named Bear.
Okay.
I hear spring bear, like black bear, is really good. So
what do you think about a bow hunter and being able to, hunt more hunting
yourself.
Opportunities and make shots on animals?
Yeah, I haven't hunted moose yet. I've had plenty of moose. I've helped runs with it. That might be something I do this year. The Eklutna,
you can call moose in pretty close.
Yeah, the Eklutna like archery hunt that's here.
Eklutna?
Eklutna, yeah. Like that one seems like easily accessible. So I might look at
gnarly.
that. Yeah, the terrain back there is pretty interesting, right?
Have you ridden back there?
I have, yeah. I've fat biked back there, or mountain bike back there. Yeah.
I was thinking about getting a moose up there, like, ooh.
Yeah.
That looks like a pack out.
Yeah. I guess, I think there are days. Yeah. I think there are days you can hit it with the ATV, and other days you have to either hike in or whatever. Mm-hmm. So
or both.
Yeah. Or both, yeah. So we'll see what the draws bring. Hopefully something fun.
Yeah.
So
well, thanks for sharing the story.
Yeah, thanks guys. I appreciate the invite.
And the photos and video.
Are you okay if someone that luckily draws this here in the next year or two gives you a message on Instagram and little pointers, a little help or something like that?
For sure. I mean, the community did that for me. I know sometimes you see that stuff on social media and people get all salty about it, figure it out on your own. Like, nobody has figured out it on their own except the people that started life here, right? So everybody gets a little bit of help somewhere. I got a lot of help. Of course, anybody that wants to reach out, I'm happy to help them out. So, and
once again, the Instagram is dbrophy33.
Yeah, that's correct. Yep.
Right on.
Yeah, man. Congratulations on a bison of a lifetime, a hunt of a lifetime. Probably amazing time spent with buddies, conversations.
Yeah, so great. Yeah.
Shit talking.
It was great. All those guys were super awesome. Shout out to them, and I appreciate all their help.
It's rare you get to go on a hunt where like the focal point is you getting the animal.
For sure, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you can do over the counter, you go to moose, everybody's got a tag.
Yeah.
Some guys do batting orders. Some guys are like, I saw it first, I'm going to draw blood.
Yeah, it's a big ask.
This was your thing.
Yeah, and that's a big ask. Like in Alaska, to be like, hey guys, come with me to do this thing in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money.
It is, and if you don't mind, I want to give your boys a shout out.
Yeah.
Kudos to them to come along for the moral support, help, muscle.
Oh yeah.
Encouragement. They're know-it-all, even though maybe they didn't know.
Yeah. No, everybody.
Their butchering skills.
That's what it was.
You know
everybody brought something to the table.
Yeah.
It was like the Shackleton crew. Everybody had a skill set to make that ship get down the river. So
hell yeah, dude.
it was perfect. So
yeah, well done and well played, sir.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Right on. Thank you for listening, everyone. Please visit our website, alaskawildproject.com. We got a bunch of hoodies and shirts and hats and stuff up there for the site. Patreon.com/alaskawildproject. If you're looking to buy something in town, definitely go hit up Barney's. They got a lot of our merch up there for sale as well. Any other last comments, boys?
No, man, this was a great time. Thank you very much, David, for coming in and your time. And it was a long time coming, and we really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks. Hopefully it gets everybody jazzed for the draws in about, 2 weeks or week and a half?
Next Friday, bro.
Yeah.
So 1 week from tomorrow.
That's right.
We're ready.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Good luck out there, and thank you for listening. And as always,
stay wild.
You remember my speaking to you of what I call your overcautiousness. Are you not overcautious when you assume that you cannot do what the enemy is constantly doing?
The Alaska Wild Project podcast is brought to you by the following sponsors.
Barney's Sports Chalet, supplying hunters with the best hand-selected gear since 1963. The exclusive home of frontier gear built for the rugged Alaskan terrain. Your one-stop shop for all your outdoor needs. Visit Barney's today at 906 West Northern Lights.
Arbor Digital, the forefront of digital assets, cryptocurrencies, and wealth management, providing a low-cost, research-based investment strategy for Alaskans looking to invest their hard-earned money. Visit arborcapital.io today to put your money to work.
Tailored Restoration 24-hour emergency home services, helping Alaskans restore their dreams since 1972. Services include fire, water, mold, post-emergency cleaning, repair, and remodeling. Give them a call in Anchorage, Eagle River, Matsu, or Fairbanks. Hit them up at tailoredrestorationalaska.com.
Total Truck and Alaska Overlander, Alaska's premier supplier for custom automotive accessories and overlanding products, providing all-inclusive rental vehicles and trailers custom outfitted to explore the Alaskan backcountry with a unique and convenient traveling experience.
Serrano's Mexican Grill, 2 locations, one on Tudor, one on Northern Lights. The Northern Lights location has their new tequila bar. Check it out. Also see their daily specials at serranosmexicangrill.com.
TheTreehouseAK.com, located at 341 Boniface Parkway, Alaska's own and grown cannabis and CBD store. Ask the bud tender what the strain of the day is to get your 10% off. The Treehouse, where the culture lives.
The Connoisseur Lounge, Alaska's premier locally owned and operated cannabis retailer, located in the heart of Palmer, Alaska. Their cultivated products include Snowcap Romance, Aurora Haze, Super Glue, and much more. Find them at theconnoisseurlounge.net.
AKO Farms, located in Sitka, Alaska, built from the ground up with concentrates as their single motivation, with exclusive products such as their sugar wax, full spectrum diamond sauce carts, and more. Ask your local bud tender about AKO. Marijuana has intoxicating effects and may be habit-forming and addictive. Marijuana impairs concentration, coordination, and judgment. Do not operate a vehicle or machinery under the influence. There are health risks associated with consumption of marijuana. For the use of only by adults 21 and older. Keep out of the reach of children, and marijuana should not be used by women who are pregnant or breastfeeding.
The Bait Shack, located on Ship Creek upstream of the bridge. Can't miss the bright red shack. They are the go-to fishing gear rental and guide service on Ship Creek. Tight lines and fish on. Come hook into the action with them. Hit them up at thebaitshackak.com.
Snow Pro AK, your snow and ice management company specializing in business and residential properties. They know what it takes to keep your property presentable and safe. Give them a call for a free estimate at 280-7098 or visit lawnproak.com. Double Shovel Cider Company, located off of Arctic and 58th. Handcrafted Alaskan-made colonial ciders. They also have a tap room downtown on the corner of 5th and E. Stop by today and taste an award-winning cider.
The Alaska chapter of Backcountry Hunters and Anglers. BHA is the voice of our Alaskan public lands, waters, and wildlife. Their goal is to uphold our hunting and fishing legacy while keeping our public lands wild. Stand up today and join BHA at backcountryhunters.org.
Should you not claim to be at least his equal in prowess and act upon the claim? I say try. If we never try, we shall never succeed. This proposition is a simple truth, and is too important to be lost sight of for a moment. If we cannot beat the enemy where he now is, we never can. It is all easy if our troops march as well as the enemy, and it is unmanly to say they